I'm too young to know any better, but I guess I'm just too old to care. I'm waiting on the morning light to clear the air. Now the sky is hung with regret, letting go that you may flags. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated.
All right.
Take a look at me now. I'm the one that you created. The one that you hated.
All right, here we go. All right.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Big Show, hosted by me, Jimmy Smith. Alongside of me is my co-host and color commentator and also host of Pissed Off Parent, Dwayne Ward. The Big Show is a podcast where we discuss modern day issues like men's health, masculinity, the hard truth about dating, and what makes a man a man. So let's go ahead and get the Big Show started. Dwayne, good morning. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday and good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. You know, so woke up early, feeling good, had my coffee, got something to eat, put on my favorite pink shirt, and I'm ready to go.
Ready to rock and roll. I have decided to wear my rad, really awesome dad t-shirt today.
Yeah.
And if you'll notice, a little more definition.
You're look at the chest coming out there. The chest, the shoulders are starting to pop a little bit. Yeah, man.
Not bad for an old dude.
Not bad at all. I mean, you're doing it. You got your 80s retro t-shirts and a little chest going. Nice.
Making it happen. Yeah. And for those that are wondering why I'm showing off my pectorals and stuff on the podcast here, Jimmy's been working with myself and Eric, along with all the other people he works with, getting us healthy. I'm actually 50 years old, and I was feeling like I was about 80. And Jimmy said, one of the things he does, but Jimmy said, hey, let's see if we can kind of work with you and get you to put the walker away and start acting like a man. And over the last few weeks, he's been, coaching me, talking to me, helping me out, and kind of like, hey, get off your dead ass and start doing something. And I'm getting
now. Look at you.
I know. I'm ready to go.
It was just a few weeks ago that your belly stuck out further than your chest did. Now we're starting to see the transition of the pectorals coming out a little further than the belly.
Yeah, my chest is coming in. I mean, when girls are younger, they're like, "Oh, I can't wait for my chest to grow in." Now mine's coming in a good way.
Yeah, a couple months ago, I had to really look hard to see the rad, but now it's so much closer to me now because those chest muscles are coming out.
Yeah, getting that frame and all that stuff. Things we've been talking about on the show for the last several shows, getting your frame and getting your body, getting your health, your mind, body, and spirit all where it needs to be. And it's working. If you can work on this 50-year-old guy, and if you talk to anyone that knows me, they're like, this guy's getting off his dead ass and doing stuff. That's motivation. That's what Jimmy's able to do, is get people jazzed up and ready to take on the world.
So how are you feeling?
I'm feeling a lot better. I've been doing, and we talked about actually on Eric's show a little bit yesterday, but I got again doing the testosterone stuff. Eating better. I do screw up from time to time. Yesterday was one example. Darn it, McDonald's. But eating better, getting right sleep. I'm a CPAPper. I know everyone, like, oh my God, that's Darth Vader dorky. But with what happens with people that have sleep apnea, they're higher risk for heart attack, stroke. And they sleep horribly because they stop breathing or something happens when they're sleeping, so they don't get REM sleep. Actually, you talked about the sleep patterns a few weeks ago, but when you disrupt that, it has a negative impact on your body. So, through a lot of the coaching that you've given me, I'm like, all right, I got to do this, and I start doing it, and I feel a million times better. I feel like $1 million.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's great. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm really proud of you. I'm proud of your dedication. Look, we're all very, very busy. The world is busy. The world's always taking us off of where we want to be, throwing curveballs our way. And it's not easy to stay disciplined and dedicated. That's why, one of the things that Coach Rich Massa last week had talked about is that I really liked was when someone is in good physical shape, you can see their discipline. He mentioned having remember when he was talking about having a couple clients that are millionaires, and he says, hey, unless they're wearing Armani suits and pulling up in Lambos, you don't really know that they're millionaires. I mean, you wouldn't know if a guy had $50 or $50 million. But if he walks in, a guy or a gal, and they're in good physical shape, you can see their discipline. It's kind of like it's kind of like children. You know, you go out to eat and you look over another table. The kids are well behaved. They're not speaking out of turn. They're not speaking out of line. And you know that there's discipline there. You know that mother and that father has raised good kids. So it's one of those few things in the world where, you know, you don't have to actually know the person to see the discipline that they have. So
yeah. It's inherent. You walk in the room and you can tell, the kids, the adults, it's all how you carry yourself, having that discipline. So yeah, no, I 100% agree.
So there's some
Rich. Did you get a chance to after you saw him out? Have you busted his balls lately?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I want to make sure last week's show wasn't like a one-timer or something.
No. Listen. Busting his balls is like going to the gym. I do it quite frequently. So
okay.
Yeah, sometimes I'll go a couple days without talking to him, and then I'll feel that something in the universe is just off. And I'm thinking to myself, what is it? I mean, did I forget to leave the stove on? Oh, you know what? I haven't busted his balls in 3 days. Let me just give him a call and I'm just going to insult him, and then I'll just hang up on him and then just move on about my day. And it makes me feel so much better about myself to put him down. So I really appreciate him for that. I mean, that's my favorite thing about being his friend, is that I get to, you know, kind of oppress him to make me feel better. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, it was great. I mean, he was a great guy, great interview, great story. All those pieces were there. It was great. And then the camaraderie, the way you guys just, I mean, that, you know, you guys have been friends since the Frost Tip days, right?
Yeah, his Frost Tip days. His Frost Tip days. Yeah, he had a little 2001 Justin Timberlake baby Frost Tip thing going on there. But I mean, you can tell him and I have been going back and forth with each other for a couple of decades. I mean, the way we banter back and forth. So
he's a lifelong friendship.
It is, man, and I'll be friends with him till I die. He's a great guy. So he's or one of us in each other's life. Correct.
Exactly. Kind of like marriage.
Like marriage.
All right, sorry, I know I tracked. I just remember, when you were talking, it reminded me of, Rich is hard to forget, so it reminded me of him, and I just wanted to ask how he was doing. So it sounds like, actually, I think he's out in the comments section there. Yeah, it feels. There he is.
Good morning. So,
right,
today's interesting thing has been going on this last few weeks since the podcast has kind of went live, and I've been on there talking to people. I've been getting some private messages in Instagram. I had a couple people reach out to me on Google through my email, and they've been asking questions, and they've been not only wanting a little bit of coaching and things like that, but just asking general questions just in general. And, I think everyone kind of knows at this point that I've, between Rich and myself and you, we've kind of driven home the point that, getting in good physical shape is probably one of the most important things you can do. Yeah. But the problem with that is that it takes a long time to do that. You got to put a lot of work in. So I've been getting questions lately of, hey, while I'm on this journey, and, it's going to take me a year. It's going to take me a couple of years. What can I do now that can kind of enhance or increase, me to be a little bit more attractive? What are some low hanging fruit kind of things? And what I decided to do was go ahead and make today's podcast about that. So I put together basically 10 ways to appear a little bit more attractive. And these are not the only 10 things that you can do, but these are 10 things that I think that anyone can do, that they can see a really good return on their investment within days or even weeks. And it can really increase their chances for promotions at work. It can increase their chances for finding a better mate, and just make them feel much better in return. So, I was kind of thinking, have you ever met someone who was maybe like, let's say, I don't know, like a 5 or a 6 out of 10 on a conventional attraction scale, but there was something so charismatic about them that they just, charmed you, and you couldn't help but find yourself attracted to that person, whether it's a guy or a gal. They're not the most, they don't have these model looking features. They're not tall and, high in physical stature, but they're just there's an aura that radiates around these people, and you just find yourself more attracted to them. And then on the flip side, you kind of end up telling your friends, hey, there's something about this girl. I don't know what it is. And you just, the personality of a person, I'm sure we all agree with this. The personality of the person can either be a promoter of their attractiveness, or it can be a detractor of their attractiveness. Right? I mean, I have dated women who are, average looking women, and let's call it 5. 5 is in the middle, right? So I know in today's world, if you said that a woman was a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10, she'd probably be highly insulted. But the reality is 5 is average, and most everybody is average. So in women's world, they want to be 9s and 10s, but the reality is that most women are 5s. And if you're cute, you're a 6. And if you're gorgeous, you're a 7. If you're an absolute knockout, you're an 8. If you're a unicorn, you're a 9 or 10. So, but I have dated 5s and 6s that were average or slightly above average looking, but they had a personal infrastructure about them. They had an aura about them that it just made me want to be back in their space. It made me constantly think about her. And she goes from being a 5 or a 6 to a 7 or an 8. On the flip side, I'm sure that you've seen beautiful women, celebrities, or people who are like 9 or 10s out of 10, but their energy is so rotten that it kills the attraction altogether.
Yeah.
I've dated a lot of them women too, especially in my 20s and early 30s. I've dated some beautiful women. I mean, in my 20s, that was all that I went after was models and strippers. Richie and I were just doing nothing but I won't say the words, but hanging out with models and strippers. And, they look fantastic, but gosh, they're just rotten on the inside. And, they might be a 9, but, they're like a 5 when you factor in their personal infrastructure. So, he or she might have a super model look, but you just know that, she probably hates puppies or something. You just know there's something wrong with her. Like what is wrong with this chick? Does she like hate puppies or something like that? I don't know. But
your 80s references, or she doesn't get your that brings her down.
There's no click there. There's no chemistry. There's no connection. Right. I mean, there's nothing.
Well, can I ask you, have you thought, and you kind of like touched on it, but we talk about the scale, the 1 to 10, and it seems like as you get older, it becomes a multi-leveled scale. Like when you're in your teens and your early 20s and up, 30, the 1 to 10 is just looks. That's kind of all you care about. And then as you get a little bit older, you're like, okay, I'm going to put in that personality, conversation. And then as you get my age, you're like, can they recognize the signs of a stroke or a heart attack? At my age, a girl that can recognize if I'm having a heart attack or a stroke, that's an 11 in my book. That weighs that removes every other thing there. If she can look at me and go, "Hun, you're having a heart attack. Let me take care of you." She's an 11, and case closed. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, and no, you're absolutely right. I think that in a person's 20s, guy or gal, in today's modern world, not so much in our grandparents' ages, but in today's modern world, a lot of people are not really looking for their forever after when they're 22, 23, 24. Yeah. They're looking for a boyfriend. They're looking for a girlfriend. They're looking for a partner, perhaps, to kind of learn life and learn what it is to be around a woman, or a woman learn what it is to be in the space of a man. But I don't think that many people are really going, hey, I'm looking for a husband or a wife when I'm 23. I'm not saying they should not. I'm just saying in today's world, that's kind of where they're at. So I find that a lot of these younger people will oftentimes, to your point, go for looks because that's the most important trait to them in their age. When women get into their 30s, they start maturing a little faster than men because biologically speaking, women really need to start having babies in their, not past 35, right. Because of biology. So I see that when women in their late 20s, early 30s, they start looking for more forever after. They want to have a family. And then to your point, these women are looking for different traits other than tall and good looking and chiseled abs and a chiseled jaw. They're looking for provide, protect. They're looking for a father. Plan. Yeah, 401k plan, ambition, so, and then when men get into their 30s and especially 40s and they start to mature themselves and they're looking for families, they're not looking for the hottest chick. They certainly don't want to date a stripper any longer. They,
Right.
you know, they want a woman that can bring substance to a family. They want that woman that can turn four walls into a home and a group of people into a family. You know, they want cooperation. They want a partnership. They want to grow with someone, you know,
Preach.
and yeah. And I oftentimes have said in my podcast that when a man is looking for a woman for a long-term LTR, they are more than willing to go down in looks to go up in cooperation.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
so
definitely true. And I don't know about you, but whenever I'm around, and it's not even romantically. I mean, again, you look at people, and I don't immediately think, should I have sex with them or not, or how hot or whatever they are. But they, when they open their mouth and they say something either dumb or rude or whatever, I look at their like value, their looks, and everything else a lot differently. It's almost like an immediate turn on or turn off. And when I say turn on, it doesn't. Every person I meet that talks nicely, I'm not like turned on by them, but their appeal and everything goes up and down, kind of based on their how they talk and how they carry themselves. I don't know if that's been your experience.
Yeah, it has, absolutely. You know, so I think that when you look at like picking mates and things like that, everyone has their preferences, but for the most part, you pretty much people know that if you don't present enough value to the opposite sex, it's going to limit your chances of attracting the kind of quality that most people would want for themselves, And the thing about it though is that value does look different when you're a man compared to if you're a woman. Because who determines value? If you're a man, the person who determines value is females. If you're a female, the people who determine value are men. Unless you're a female wanting to date another female, then the only validation, the only thing that really matters is what do the men think about you, right? Because in generally speaking, men are going to be the ones courting. They're going to be ones hunting. They're going to be ones pursuing females. And I said this before as well. If females are the product, then men are the consumers of said product.
Right.
So if you're trying to sell a car, let's just make it very linear. If you're trying to sell a car, and you have 160,000 miles and it has dings all in it and scratches on the bumper, you're not going to get top dollar compared to having the exact same year, make, and model and miles, but it was shiny like a new penny. So
right.
you want to present yourself in the best possible form to be able to attract the highest quality mate. And here's the good news. A lot of energy and charisma can be taught. That connection that we were talking about, that charisma, that aura about, connecting with a woman or a woman connecting with a man, how we will go down in looks for that solid connection. A lot of that stuff can be taught. You don't have to be born with a silver tongue. You don't have to be born with this crazy attraction of charisma. If you just kind of understand what the opposite sex is looking for, you can enhance your ability to attract them. Most of attraction is just an energy, a dynamic, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over, 10 tips that will make anyone appear more attractive. So let's go ahead and kind of jump into it. And this will help both men and women, but I want to be clear that that I'm talking more directly to the men because my show is a little bit more directed towards men, although there are certainly transferable things. So if you're a woman listening to this, because I know the show gets a lot of female listeners, and I appreciate that, know that some of these are maybe not all the same things that men are highly looking for in females, but this is definitely things that our females are looking for when it comes to the highest quality man. The number one is integrity. You have to have integrity. A complete man has a strong sense of integrity, and he lives his life according to his values and his principles. He is honest. He's trustworthy. He does the right things, even when it's difficult. So this is what I say, Ben. If you're tired of being looked over, then do what you say you're going to do, and you'll stand out. It's called integrity. You see, nowadays we need a contract for everything. I read that there was a point in time in history when a handshake was all that you needed. I hear stories about back in the day, you didn't have things on black and white. a man's handshake was all that was needed. You see, if you just simply do what you say you would do, they wouldn't look to the next individual for that promotion. They'll look to you, that new business partner, that new client. No problem, because there's nobody else out there like you. So they're going to be looking towards you to handle those clients, handle those business partners. A woman's going to be looking to you to handle leading the household, because when you tell your girlfriend, when you tell your wife, babe, I'm going to do this, then be a man of your word. If you say you're going to do it, then do it. And also, guys, don't be afraid to admit when you don't plan on doing anything. If you say you're not going to do it, then don't do it. Don't be afraid of saying no also. Don't just be that person who is a yes man, who's always trying to make everyone around you happy. You're not going to be able to make everyone around you happy. And anyone with any common sense has, and especially anyone over 30 years old, has learned that life lesson that you just cannot simply make everybody happy. I will tell you this, even doing this podcast, I've seen and I've heard a ton of people give me advice. And a lot of the advice that I'm getting from people are unsolicited advice. I didn't ask them for their advice, but they will call me up, or they'll talk to me, or they'll say, hey, I've seen this. And they'll just start going, well, here's what you need to do. Here's what you got to say. Jimmy, your words are really great, but I don't like how you say them. There's some of your podcasts where you're too direct, you're too bold, and it comes across this way, and you're going to make women upset by saying it this way. Look, I am who I am. I'm a man, and men talk directly. Other men respect men who talk directly. And in today's modern world, where everyone's here to coddle and make you feel good, in a world that we live in when there's participation trophies for just showing up, yeah, you probably are getting used to hearing your ego stroked and your head rubbed. It's okay. You're the best. And then when you hear these men and women who are the kind of men and women who truly care about you and truly love you, that want to see the best for you, here's how you know that someone really loves you: when they're honest with you, even when it doesn't feel good. That's one of the things that's one of the vetting factors of being a close friend of mine. I don't have close friends who tell me things that I want to hear. I vet my friends. I want to be surrounded by people who are smarter than me, people who are visioned in line with me, and people who are not afraid to say, Jim, look, that was good, but this is how I saw it, and I think that you could have done it better. And if I respect that person, I'll also respect their feedback. But I find that in today's world, I'm personally getting a lot of feedback from people who have not necessarily earned my respect, or certainly not people who I even asked for their advice, telling me how I should run my show, tell me how I should run my life. And I'll listen to it. I'm not going to have a closed mind. But at the end of the day, listen, if you want to start your own podcast, start your own podcast. Say whatever it is you want to say. And if you think that coddling feelings is the best way to go, who am I to tell you what to do? But on the show here, this is all about honesty, and I'm going to I'm going to uphold integrity, and I'm going to say some things that doesn't always feel that good. Hell, probably even in today's podcast. But you have to know that it's coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of wanting to help you, because none of you guys are paying me to do this. No one's scratching me a check every week for this. And I'm putting hours into this content to try to help people every single week. I'm taking my own personal time aside to do it, because I want to this is my way of giving the world back. I think God has blessed me with some great talents, and I'm trying to think how I can leave a legacy on this world. And if it's not through children, because I don't have children, well, then how am I going to give back to the world that's given me so much? And one of the talents that I have is my communication and my ability to help people. And so I'm doing this for free. And I'm not going to do it to coddle people's feelings. I'm going to do it to help them grow. It's just like how whenever you and I were talking about fitness and talking about eating right, I didn't tell you or promise you that it was going to be fun.
No.
But I said, right?
It wasn't going to be fun. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you're going to have to eat, every couple hours. You're going to have to, you got to put the pasta down. You got to step away from the cheeseburger, and for God's sake, quit drinking soda all the time. I mean, yeah. And those are that's who I am, and it's
Yep.
a hard thing. But if you want change, it's going to take time. Yeah, you could sit there and blew smoke up my ass, going, "Oh yeah, no, you can go to McDonald's, get 4 or 5 cheeseburgers, and do this, and sleep all day. You'll be fine." And where would I be?
Right.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean,
what I promised you is I promised you that it would not be fun, but it would be worth it. That's what I promised you.
oh yeah, and I'm seeing the changes. I mean, from then to now, I feel a million times better. I hope to feel even better next week, next month, and getting back into that that good spot, and just getting better. And yeah, I mean, having you kick me in the, and that's what it's what it takes for a lot of times, is to get someone to kick your butt and have you move forward. And that's that whole integrity thing. Is you could easily sit there and lie to me, or tell me if I say, hey, here's my BMI, and you go, oh well, yeah, that's okay, when I'm actually fat, obese, morbidly obese, whatever, having that honesty and be able to say, look, this is where you're at. And there are smart ways to say that, when your wife comes to you and says, does this dress make me look fat? There's the one that the smart answer and the dumb answer.
Remember in Star Wars when the what was it, the admiral, what was that squid, the admiral, he's like, it's a trap.
Yeah.
I keep hearing that, like whenever your girlfriend says, hey, do I look fat in that? I'm like, ugh, it's a trap. I keep hearing that little squid guy.
Like, well,
but
there's not your thing, or you find ways to keep your integrity, but still not do something that's going to get you beat up or something.
Yeah, maybe say something like this. Say, you know what, it looks good on you, but you know what really looks good is that one green dress that you wore a couple weeks back. That one really accented your curves or made you look, gorgeous. I don't know. I mean, honestly, that's it. Like I said, men hate when women ask that question, because what I want to say is, no, the dress doesn't make you look fat. The fat makes you look fat. But I also don't want to
there's
be celibate for a year either. So. But there's not so many people, Dwayne, that are living by code of ethics, the code of integrity, to kind of do unto others what you want kind of done unto you. Like, we all know that saying, but very few of us is living it. When you're in your career, treat every client you get as gold. See your focus on that purpose, that person as someone who's going to pay your focus on clients. Because I get asked this a lot, because a lot of men are trying to be focused on their careers. So integrity plays a lot into people's clients that they have and things like that. And and I tell them to see their focus on that person as someone who's going to be paying you some money, but instead you need to be focused on how you're going to serve them better. Like, so many people are seeing clients and patients and all these things as some sort of money grab. How can I make money from these people? And I try to let them know that instead, just kind of see these people, how you can serve them better, how you can solve a problem for them better. They came to you for a solution, and either you have the answer or you don't have the answer, or you don't. So, if you want to make money in your career, then my opinion is to always remember that they came to you for a need, and whatever that need is, your job is to solve that need. And the better you get at solving people's needs, the more money you're going to make in your career. So don't see it as how can I make more money off this person? See it as, how can I be better for my clients? That's how I would look at it. We live in
I was going to ask you, what would you see? It just kind of hit me, the integrity thing, and there's such a loss or a lack of that today. People are lying to people and stretching the truth and doing all this bad stuff, and they think they're telling the truth. It's I think I've told you before, I watch trash TV, 9 Day Fiance and Love After Lockup, and of course dealing with people, and they will lie to you and believe it's the truth, and they're okay with it, or they won't even live in the world they create. They'll be offended when you lie to them, but they'll have been lying to you the entire time. Yeah. And I don't know what your thoughts on that. I guess it just boils down to having integrity. Know what the truth is. If you give your word, keep it. If you can't, be upfront. If you're not going to make that deadline by Monday, own up to it. Don't say, right, oh, Bob did it, or it's so and so's fault. Have that integrity and say, the buck stops here. I'm a man or woman of my word. And what I say goes. There was no misunderstanding. I goofed up, or darn it, I am going to make sure this gets done for you.
Yeah, good point. I mean, how many times have we been in situations where someone has told us, like maybe a client or a customer has told us, I'm not mad that you didn't have the product. I'm not mad that you missed the deadline. I'm mad that you didn't tell me what was going on. I'm mad that you didn't communicate. Like you just went dark, and then I had to call you to find out what's really going on. So I agree. I mean, I think that, if you just have the integrity and you're able, it kind of goes back to not being a yes man or a yes woman.
Right.
Integrity also, in my opinion, is having tough conversations with people, even though they're tough. Even though it doesn't feel good, but people will respect you. And I'm not here to toot my own horn, but one of the things that I'm proud of that for myself and the employees that work for me is that they always know what page they're on with me. I'll sit them down, and I have an ability to let people know the not so pleasant news, even though it's hard to digest, but I'll say it in a way that's not overbearing or brash. And I'll just go, look, this is what's happened. This is what transpired. These are my thoughts about it. What do you guys think about it? Okay, great. This is what we'll do then. And this is how we're going to move going forward. And people at least appreciate and respect the fact that it came to them and delivered that kind of news instead of just ignoring it or hoping that it goes away. I think all that plays into, the integrity piece.
Yep.
We live in a society now where no one can really be trusted. Everybody's after that next dollar, like, and what are you looking to have? Are you looking to have a one-time client, or are you looking to have a client or a client that does business with you for life? So
Right.
Look at your clients kind of like your friends. You meet someone new, and what is your goal with them? Are you looking to have a friend for just that weekend because you're hanging out at the jazz festival, or are you looking to have a friend for life? Well, I oftentimes, and maybe this is wrong or right, I don't think it's wrong. I think it's actually smart. That's my opinion. Whenever I look for my girl or friends that are men, I learn as much as I can about their past to predict their future. So one of my shit test in dating, one of my vetting things is I'll try to find out how her relationship is with her family. And I'll try to find out how many close friends she has and for how long she's had those friends. And the reason why I do it is the exact same reason that whenever we are employing people and we're interviewing people, if you've had two applicants that both have had a 10-year history of work history, and one person has had 5 jobs or 6 jobs in the last 10 years, and the other person has had 2 jobs in the last 10 years, who are you more likely going to hire? You're going to more likely hire the person who has 2 jobs in 10 years. Why? And the reason why is because no matter what job you have, Dwayne, every job comes with its challenges.
Oh, yeah.
It comes with a bunch of people that work there that are broken, they're emotional, they're stressed out, they're overworked, there are headaches sometimes, they've got issues, and there's going to be times that you're going to be put in situations where you're going to have to bite your tongue, you're going to have to roll with the punches, you're going to have to, stand up for yourself. Yeah. There's so many variables that make a person be able to stay with a career for a long time. That's the same thing when it comes to friends. And it's the same thing when it comes to having relationships with your family. Our families are some effed up people.
Oh, God, you're telling me. I sent my paperwork off to Ancestry.com, and they sent me back a thing of seeds telling me to start over.
Yeah. I sent mine off, and they just sent me a look that says, "My God, I'm so sorry." Our thoughts and prayers are with you, and it's because, we don't get to pick our family. And so, having good relationships, or at least a relationship where your things are on even keel ground with your family is becoming harder and harder to have, because you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. And if you have a good relationship with your family, either you're very, very blessed, or you've worked very, very hard to have that relationship. And I can think of people in my own personal family where, honestly, Dwayne, I'll be honest with you, if they weren't my family, I probably would have nothing to do with them. Just being honest.
Yep. Yeah.
Their
feel
moral
you.
compass, doesn't line up with my moral compass. So
Definitely.
when you look at doing the right thing and having integrity, it really plays a lot. I think that if you look at someone's past and you see how they handle adversity and you see how they handle strife, you can predict their future. So, like I said, we live in a society now where, I mean, hardly anyone can be trusted. Everyone's after that next dollar. They're looking for quick things instead of long-term things. You got to look at the big picture. And since integrity is hard to find, it's oftentimes the biggest attribute that an individual can have. So when people find you, when people find you at that business or a person who has integrity at that business, what's going to happen then is your business will explode and your relationships will grow. You see, these are the small intangibles that people, I think, overlook a lot of times. I'm telling you, trust my words, because I promise you that it's the truth. If you have integrity, you will have everything. So that's the first thing that I would say. And it may not be the top of the top 10, but it's certainly a very important factor when wanting to be a higher value woman, when you want to be a higher value man. Number 2, and this is one that I struggle with, me personally, is never argue. Never get too emotional. Okay. Don't let your woman or the people around you take you off center. You've heard me say take you off center many times. Stay calm. Think about your words. And if need be, remind them that they're talking to a grown man. They're talking to a grown woman.
Yep.
When you become emotional and you yell, people know that their words have power over you, and the world will continue to use them in future battles against you. Instead, if the world becomes disrespectful, warn the people around you that you will not tolerate the disrespect and to not speak to you that way. One of the best advices that I've given people and that I've learned is you teach people how to treat you.
Preach. Listen in, guys. This is gold right here.
You teach people how to treat you. So if you don't say something when someone treats you bad, you're teaching them that it's okay to talk to you that way.
Yep.
And I've had relationships with women where they've gotten crazy, just absolute crazy. And they call me all kinds of names. They're talking to me out of my name, and I'll stop them. I say, let me stop you right there before we go any further.
Right.
Do not speak to me like that. I don't know who you think you're talking to, but you're talking to a grown man. If you want to be around me, then we're going to talk to each other with respect. We're both grown adults. You treat me nice, and I'll treat you nice. Because if you're going to treat me that way, you're not going to like how I'm going to treat you that way. And I'm not going to allow myself to be taken off center and disrespect you just because you started to disrespect me. So if you have one of two options, you can either talk to me with the same respect that I'm talking to you, including the same tone, or I'll just leave. So would you like me to leave, or would you like to start this over with? Just try saying something like that. And now I didn't MF them back. I didn't talk to them out of their name. I didn't raise my voice. I stayed calm, but I stayed very direct. And I just let them know that the behavior wasn't going to be tolerated. And 8 out of 10 times they'll say, okay, cool, you're right. They'll calm down a little bit. But what they'll do is they know that they'll never be able to in the future talk to me and call me that kind of name. And if they continue the behavior, the best thing you can do is just leave, remove yourself from the situation. If nothing changes, leave, just leave. This will keep people's egos in check, and they'll remember and they'll know that they cannot physically manipulate you, and they cannot manipulate you with their words either. Remember that the world is absolutely powerless against you unless you allow it to have power over you. And that's why in my teachings with men, I tell men, you've got to control your emotions. Women, we all know that women have their emotions. The truth is that men also have theirs also, but we only show like the same five or 3 emotions. And one of them is always usually an attitude or, hate or anger, so we don't want that to be the go-to emotion. We're like either no emotion or we're just 0 to 60. We don't want to be that way. The world, Dwayne, is falling into tough times. It really is, because, Yeah, have you noticed that?
Oh God, yeah.
You know, men
Lord, take me home.
I tell you, I wish I was born in 1920s. To me personally, I would have rather been born back then, because the world
Yeah.
has fallen to a place that where I don't even recognize it. But you know, men in general, though, I mean, they've civilized this world and made it so comfortable that strong, dominant men are not even needed currently in this state of
Right.
of society. You know, this has led us into thinking that highly productive masculine men are too aggressive, and it intimidates lesser men and fragile women. You know, with the single family households at an all-time low, with the single family
Yeah,
households
high.
at all-time high, you know, and nuclear families at an all-time low, you know, women are raising boys alone without the guidance of their fathers. We talked about this plenty of time. And, you know, not all, but women in general raise masculine, women in general raise masculine women, and they raise feminine type of men. Women have taught boys to think that it's okay to cry, that it's okay to be weak. Boys are bred into, you know, this thinking that expressing their feelings are good, and that traditional masculinity is toxic. And
Right.
masculinity is not toxic. This, of course, can be unproductive. This leads to unproductive men that exudes the very traits that women deem toxic to begin with. So it's just weird. It's like this circle of shit. You know, you got these men who are taught to be emotional, and then they grow up to be emotional, and then they're called toxic for being emotional, but they were raised to be that way. Emotional control is the fundamental trait that makes a man a real man. You have to have emotional control.
Well, how
Emotional
would it-
control.
Yeah, how would I mean? Would be some examples of or ways to not get emotional? Because when you're in a situation, either romantically or friendship or work, what are some? Do you have any tips that people could use? Actually, one of our Deborah down in the comments says she had that happen to her twice to different people just recently. Like what are some tools or tips to your boss is yelling at you, your girlfriend, wife, or boyfriend, husband is yelling at you, a stranger on the street? What are some tips to where you don't get emotional? Like,
Well,
count to 10 or
here's what makes having emotional control much easier as a man.
okay.
Is to build yourself into the kind of man where you're so confident and you're so assertive that lesser men and emotional people don't take you off center. You know, I'm not worried about some guy who walks up to me getting all crazy in my face, and I'm not worried about physical harm with him, because I train to be the kind of man that can neutralize those threats. Does Bruce Lee seem like the kind of man who gets overly emotional? You could have 6 dudes walk up on Bruce Lee and he won't even make an emotional expression at all. Why? Because he's extremely confident in who he is and his abilities to stop that kind of stuff. For me personally, I'm a fan of James Bond. I'm a fan of that kind of man.
Which one? Which James Bond?
Just a character in general.
Okay, right.
I like all the different guys who play James Bond for their own reasons.
Okay.
But the character of James Bond, when you think about James Bond, highly masculine, highly successful, highly confident, great with the ladies,
Right.
deadly as an assassin. But that guy doesn't get all wound up. He doesn't get taken off center. It doesn't matter if a bomb went off in the casino, the guy will have some sort of plan to get him and that chick that he's with, because he's always with a chick, out of the casino. 4 guys can walk up to him with 9mm with suppressors on him, getting ready to shoot this guy, and he'll find a way to duck behind some sort of cover and use a pin to neutralize a situation. I think he always had, the guy is just too cool for himself, man. I mean, he's just a cool dude. He drives the fancy cars and he wears the fancy suits. Like, that's my kind of idol. Like, that's the kind of man that I try to be like. So whenever I'm in a confrontation with a man, or a confrontation with a woman, or a confrontation with a patient at my clinic, and they're getting all crazy, I try to be James Bond. That's literally what I think. I'm James Bond. What would James Bond do? He would be like this.
So you got James Bond and you have Austin Powers.
Correct. I'm basically both of them rolled up into one.
Oh, Both
Yes.
rolled into one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Comedy there, a little bit of that. Okay, so so really what you're saying though is built when you have your own internal confidence, you're in your frame, you've built yourself up and you know who you are, that when you approach whatever that scenario or situation is, you're confident in yourself. Whatever they say, do whatever, you're going to remain calm, not emotional, as in, you know, they call you something, you're this, or I'm going to get on, you know, Facebook and, you know, ruin your name, you know, all that petty stuff. You're just like, you know what, whatever. That, so basically confidence.
Yeah, and also too, because I don't like things to control me personally. That's why I don't drink a lot. That's why I don't do drugs. I don't want anything to influence me. I don't like it. Well, one of the things I've noticed in the past is when someone gets all crazy with me, I can feel my heartbeat elevate. I can feel, you know, I start to kind of zero in. I'm getting that, like, I'm gonna, you know, fight kind of a mode. Yeah. You know, that kind of thing. And I try the best I can when someone's getting all crazy to keep my heart rate the exact same that it is. And I'll be honest, I don't do it all the time. I'm not an expert at this. This is just what I shoot for. And if you just realize that these people are absolutely powerless over you, and that's why they're getting crazy, because they're trying to take you off center. They're trying to get you to get all up in your feels and getting emotional and trying to make
You're
you
just not a man.
bad.
You're just not a man. You're just not a real man.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard that one?
Exactly. You know, a real man would do this, you know, like, you know, a woman's going to tell me what it's like to be a real man. You know, that imagine if I told a woman, well, you're not a real mother, because a real mother would do this. Like, how the hell would I know what a real mother would do? I've never had babies, you know? So, you know, I just don't let people, you know, take me off center and get me all flustered, because they're only doing it because they're completely powerless. They're not going to ever put their damn hands on me. So if they can't put their hands on me, then the only arsenal they have, the only bullet they have in their arsenal, is to try to get me on, try to take me down emotionally. Yeah. So emotional control separates the boys from the men. That's really what it does. You know, what the world fails to realize, especially women, is that showing more emotion doesn't mean that you have more emotion, and showing fewer emotions doesn't mean that you feel them any less. The men with some of the best emotional control have a stoic look about them, but some of them feel the pain most out of us all. It doesn't mean that just because I don't show it doesn't mean I don't have it. You know, guys like me, they just control these emotions and they think before they speak or act. I try to do that. I try to think of, again, I go back to the James Bond thing. He always has something smart ass, but witty and intelligent to say back that makes the person they don't have any response back. So I try to use a very even-keeled, stoic, but intelligent, wise remark back that diffuses the situation. So just understand that emotional control is not the absence of emotion. It's the presence of maturity. That's what emotional control is. You know,
what about the never argue part? Looks like we got a good handle on the emotional. Don't lose your shit. Basically, keep it in the frame and all that. But the never argue. That's what that is. That is a hook in my mouth every time. Whenever someone says I disagree with you because of I'm like, oh well, maybe you don't understand my point or my position. Let me explain it. And I always approach it from that perspective. And then 3 hours later, I'm like, oh, you're just a moron. I need to move on with my life. Is that when you say never argue, or is it more the whole don't get emotional kind of piece of it?
You know, they kind of blend together, to be honest, because if you find yourself in an argument with someone, arguments are usually like elevated tone. You're speaking fast. You're speaking out of emotions. Yeah.
Okay.
So right. I would lean towards saying, yes, don't argue, but you can debate.
Okay.
You know, look at it less of an argument, more of a debate. And also too, I like to let them know that I hear them. So I'll look them in the eyes and I'll say, oh, yes. Okay. And then I'll repeat back what they're saying. So Dwayne, what I'm hearing from you, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you had an issue with this, and that led to why you're mad about this. Did I capture that right? And when you say things like that, they will appreciate the fact that they're being heard. Then you can start saying, well, let me share with you my thoughts on it. And if you start to talk and then they jump in on it, and they talk over you, just say, hold on, allow me to finish. And then you start talking, and then they'll jump in over and they start talking over you again. Say, sir, ma'am, in all fairness, when you were talking, I allowed you to speak. All I'm asking is just allow me to speak. I stayed silent the entire time to make sure that I fully understood you, because I wouldn't be able to help you if I just talked over you. All I'm asking you is to give me the same respect. Please let me finish.
Okay.
And so,
Great tactic.
I'm not yelling at them, and I'm also asking them for respect of a back and forth. Let's work this out. But I'm letting them know that the behavior of them over talking me is not acceptable.
Okay.
So
perfect.
that's what I mean. That's how I've learned to defuse situations where someone's just bah, 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 bah. And if it continues, then I'll say, look, okay, it seems like you are more interested in being heard than you are being understood. Like you want to be understood instead of understanding. I'm trying to help you understand the situation, but you just want to be understood. So if you want to just talk, I'll listen to you. But I kind of caught the feeling that you're looking to have a solution to this problem, and we're going to have to work together. And working together means I'm going to have to be able to speak, and
Right.
kind of reply to this. Will you
Part of
please
this,
it's a back and forth, let's talk like adults.
Yeah,
And
that
I'll
is a
just,
great tactic.
I put my hands out like this and listen, I'm here to help you. I want to help you. I'm listening to you loud and clear, and I let you talk the entire time. I stayed quiet because if I talked over you, then that would show you disrespect, and you would have thought that I'm not even listening to you. And I want you to know that I'm absolutely listening to you. So here's my thoughts on how we can fix this, and then you go on fixing it. So that's kind of what I mean. It is a little more of a debate than maybe it is an argument. But
Well, it sounds like you're trying to diffuse it. You take one or two shots at diffusing the argument, so you're not getting into the argument. You're not participating. And then when you find out it is an argument, keep your emotions in check and go, you know what, toodles, and exit scene stage right.
100%, because there's going to be people, and we all know this, no matter, like, some of those things you guys might be saying, hey, it sounds good, Jimmy. Yeah, I like how you worded that. Perfect. Awesome. And it will work for most of the people, but there's going to be some people that even I can't help these people. Yeah. So when the debate is futile, you leave. You just leave.
Right.
It's just like whenever you listen to some of the better customer service people on the phone, and you've got a customer that's just giving her the business. That customer service rep, the very good ones, will say, ma'am, I'm not going to allow you to talk to me like that. I'm just going to go ahead and hang up the phone. And when you calm down, give us a call back. We'll help you out. And if you were to end the conversation, the person on the other line is mad because they are powerless. And when they call back, if they continue the same tactics, you end the call again. And I promise you, on the third time when they call back, if they really wanted the help or needed the help, they're going to change their attitude, and they're going to approach it differently because they realize they have no power. So I'm just saying, when it comes to emotional control, you cannot lead your family or those around you if you harbor no emotional control. Another thing that's really important to know for everybody is when to choose to show your emotions, because there are the right timing and the right places for everything. So when you show your emotion, it's a very important decision, and it'll greatly influence how the world views you and your personality. Imagine like a terrorist attack taking place in our country, and the president coming on TV and beginning to cry when talking about the retaliation of this attack. If the president came on to TV and did his address to all of us and got emotional or started to cry, think of what damage that would do to the confidence and security of the American people. Like, we would sit back going, oh, shit. Oh, my God.
They're apologizing to people, their countries, kneeling for them. Yeah.
The president is just he's a human also. That man has all the same emotions, but it would be best to vent his emotions when he's alone or in the confines of his most trusted people.
Right.
So pick your timing wisely when expressing your emotions. Women are forgiven when expressing their emotions, but for men, we kind of know that's not really the case. Yeah. It's really not. The world and our women will look at us a little different if we break down too often or at the wrong times. And men, don't take the ball and run with this. I'm not saying don't have emotions. I'm not saying don't express them.
Right.
What I'm saying is choose the timing wisely when expressing them. And,
Right.
You don't want to break down too often or at the wrong times, because you'll lose respect of the men and women around you if you're not wise about how you let your emotions slip.
Yeah, like when Optimus Prime dies in the movie, it's okay then, right?
Sure. Sure.
Okay, thank you. All right.
I
There we
know.
go. I'm
I
good.
know that's very devastating for someone like you.
It
There's a strong emotional connection to Optimus
Very.
Prime. I mean, he's the leader of the. Is it Autobots? Is it Autobots?
Really? Yes,
The
the
Autobot-
Autobot. Really?
Autobots are the small ones, right? The smaller. I don't remember.
The
I don't remember.
small ones?
Is it
Yeah. Optimus Prime right here.
right?
He's the good guys, and then you have Megatron.
That's the
Which
bad
is-
guy.
That's the bad guy. I actually have a montage of good and bad. Brandy put all these did it because if I would have done it, I would have done it lopsided to where all the good guys are here and the bad guys are here. She made them based on how they look and all that. And it looks really good. Good.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It does.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all I'm saying is that if someone goes through all the trouble of having a background that looks as good as yours, if the main man dies, I mean, come on. One or two tears are not going to. Dumb truck. Oh, no.
I'll be right back.
Even I wouldn't have went that far, Brandy. Even I wouldn't have went that far. See, Dwayne would have just logged off if I called Optimus Prime a dumb truck.
Oh, I would have flown down and yeah. Wow. That's that's our little joke. Whenever we go somewhere and I see Optimus Prime, she's like, "Oh yeah, the dumb truck." All the Comic Cons, they all know that when they see us together, that she's going to say it's kind of her almost catchprise at this point. And
Oh my goodness.
It's okay. She's written out in my will. It's all right. It's no worries.
Yeah, that's how beneficiaries get changed right there. That's how they get changed.
Done. Yeah. Like I'm
But,
gonna have anything left, but yeah.
So,
Anyway, sorry.
so the caveat is that if you don't let out your emotions from time to time, it will lead you to implode, guys.
Mm.
So we don't want to harbor all this all the time. You can't just simply pretend it's not there. Emotions are energy, and energy doesn't die. If you mismanage this, you'll likely have a huge outburst and end up losing frame, or even worse, do something drastic that might have finding yourself in jail, So learn when and where to properly express your emotions and be intelligent when you do it. Don't harbor it all in, let it out, but just be careful and be careful when and be careful to whom you're allowing to let your emotions out. I would be very careful letting your emotions out too much with the woman that you're with, because since you're looked at as the leader of the household, there is a point of no return. I would say more of your guy friends and people, maybe your mom or something. I don't know, but everyone has a few friends that you can sound off to. So it's important. Another thing, let's talk about being smart with your emotions. Okay. It's not easy to master emotional intelligence. We know that, but when you do, you can now not be influenced by the world around you. Most people cannot physically make you submit to their will. So they're going to use words, insults, taunting to influence your emotions and make you react in a way that they want. We've been talking about this in this podcast today. So this is the very first tactic of women, because it has to be their first tactic, because women are far physically weaker than men. They can't overpower a man, generally speaking. So women are going to use the mind tricks and manipulation as weapons, because that is equally as not valuable, but equally as what's the word I'm looking for? It works, basically. It works. The outcome works. You can club someone over the head to make them submit, or you can, word tactics to make them submit.
Right.
By harboring emotional control, you disarm people immediately and they have no power over you. If you cannot control your emotions, then you're nothing but a slave to the world that you live in. So you got to be smart with your emotions and think before you start reacting. Not everything in your life, people, needs a reaction. Not everything needs a reaction. Okay. Remember that emotions are energy, and energy doesn't die. It just transfers. So lesser men use their despair and anger to lash out and break things. You know, they slip into bad habits like drugs and alcohol. Instead, just transfer your emotion to something productive. Use your anger and release it in the gym, you know, to better your body, to fuel, use it as fuel to take that risk for a new business that you've always wanted to, or start the project you've been putting off. You know, energy doesn't die. It just transfers. So if it's not going to go away, the energy, then at least put it to some productive use. Do you hate being broke? Do you hate being overweight? Well, then get your ass up and use those emotions to fuel a fire that the world has never seen from you. Speak less, think more. Guys, especially guys, use it for something productive. Here's another thing that I get a lot too when it comes to emotions, and I'll touch on this really quick. I can do a whole nother podcast on this, but when it comes to men, okay, anger is one of the biggest emotions that men feel. Another one is jealousy. And you've got to be careful with this, guys. Okay. You got to be careful with this for multiple reasons. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but never get jealous of other men around her. Don't. Okay. If you're planning on dating a beautiful woman, just know that men are going to always pursue her. Don't get mad at this.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at it. Okay. It shows your lack of confidence, because you know that a better man can take your girl away. That's why it shows lack of confidence. I have oftentimes said this to women, literally said this. I don't care if other men hit on you. I'm confident that you can take care of this, because listen, you know, you're a beautiful woman. Honestly, it's one of the main reasons why I picked you. I don't date unattractive women, but I know going into it that men are going to hit on my woman, because if they don't hit on my woman anymore, then I probably have the wrong woman. It's not that I want them to, it's just that it can be expected to.
Yeah.
Hun, you can take care of 90% of all these men. I'm sure you've taken care of hundreds in the past. You can take care of this stuff on your own. The 10% that give you a hard time, you call me over and I'll take care of it. But I'm not going to get jealous. Okay. If you want to go out and you want to have fun with your friends, listen, I'm okay with that. I think it's good. I think it's healthy to a certain degree, but I'm not going to be sit here and I'm not going to be jealous of you, because if you honestly think you can find a man who is better than me, then have at it. Have at it. Here's I'll give you 2 words. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
Because I know who the hell I am. And if you're
confidence,
if you are the woman that I know you are, then you know the kind of man I am too. So, you know, I'm not worried about it. Saying something like that, it's going to make her feel a certain way. First of all, it comes across, as you heard me say it just now, as confidence. Yeah. I mean, if anyone who knows me, it knows that I'm a confident kind of guy. I am. And I'm not, I try to be careful not to be cocky, but I am confident. And the reason why higher value men are confident is because, as we've talked about, to be a high value man, you're not given any of your value. Men have zero value in their kids. We have to earn our value. We have to earn our looks. We have to earn our income. We have to earn our status. We have to earn our socioeconomic position. We have to earn everything. It's different than women. Women's value comes from their beauty. It comes from their fitness. It comes from their femininity. Women are given some of their value. Their beauty is one that they're given. Either God blessed you with beauty or he did not bless you with beauty. And if he did not bless you with beauty, then if you become a good makeup artist, guess what? You're beautiful now too. So it's kind of given, you know. Men, we're not given shit. So when you put the work in and you've earned what you have, yeah, you have confidence. And women can sense those kinds of things, and they want their man to be confident. So, you know, don't become jealous, men, when your girl wants to go out, when your girl has guys that hit on her. Don't be that guy. You know, this also goes for trying to keep her at home and not allowing her to go anywhere. Unless you're present, don't do that. Don't be that guy. And there's a lot of women who listening to this, and women, go ahead and put it in the chat right now. Have you ever had a guy who doesn't ever want you to go anywhere unless he's there with you? And how'd you feel about that? It's unattractive. And the reason why it's unattractive is because it shows insecurity in that guy. If the chances are that if you're a man that has an issue with your woman going out without you, it's because you are afraid that she'll find a man who's better than you.
Which means
That's
you look
why.
at yourself and be a better person, get confident, build your stuff up if that's where you're at. And then of course, I mean, if is that the kind of girl you want to be with, that would go do those things, or you need to of course trust her. You need all that type of, you need to trust her, you need to value her. But yeah, you saying you can't go anywhere without me, that is the women I've talked to, that they say it's one of the most unattractive qualities in a guy. That's I mean, there's a little bit of healthy jealousy, like when she's around a bunch of guys, you walk up and not for bad reason, but give her a squeeze. You're doing it for the right reasons, not being insecure. That lets her know she's special. She's number one in your world. That's okay. But when you show those insecurities, that is one of the most ugliest things to a woman. And I would love to be proven, if any of the ladies, guys, whoever is in the crowd, if you disagree, shoot that out there. But that is, I'd say, one of the most unattractive things, on your list. That should be like I think you said 10, or should be like number 11. Don't be jealous. That's unattractive.
It's just a beta tactic, man. You simply cannot be there every time a man tries to hit on your woman. So
yeah,
you should work on being the man that's so valuable to your woman that she wouldn't even dare think about leaving you for another man.
Exactly. Yeah, you need to be that guy that she's like, there's 3 billion other guys in this world. That's mine. I'm staying with him. I'd be crazy to go out with Chad or Bob or whoever. Maybe Rich. Rich is he's a maybe. We'll give him that.
Yeah.
Those Frosted Tips did something for me. But yeah, outside of that, it'd be crazy.
This is my advice, man. Stop trying to find the woman of your dreams. Instead, become the man of hers.
Preach.
So if you're a quality man, she will respect you. She'll deny all advancements of other men. If you do provide value to her and you're a stand-up dude and she doesn't handle these situations the right way, then end things with her.
Yeah.
Okay. Do not show her you're jealous, because being jealous gives her a way to manipulate you as she sees fit, and it inflates her ego. So there's certainly caveats to it. If you're the kind of guy who provides value to her and you're a stand-up good dude and she cannot handle these situations the right way, she's got to go.
Road, Jack.
You have got to get good at leaving these women. So that's number 2. Before we go to number 3, let's go through the comment section real fast, because we got a bunch of people commenting. Oh, here's some earlier. There it is, right there. Admiral Akbar. That's who it was. Yeah, I remember that. Here's our trap. All right. Let's see. The downfall of having the internet because it has caused instant. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Yep. Bruce Lee and James Bond.
Listening is a skill.
So here's one that Richie teaches a lot too. Before he's referring to, Richie has done this with me plenty of times. I call up because he's one of the guys that I've into, right? So whenever I talk about releasing my emotions, he's the guy he's one of my guys that I go to, and I'll say, hey, here's what's going on. Here's my situation, this, that, and the other, and this is exactly what he says to me. Do you want to just vent, or are you looking for solutions? And basically what he's saying.
Yeah, he doesn't mean that insulting. It's like, hey, if you're just wanting to have a bitch section, I'm here for you to listen. But if you're wanting solutions, I'm going to listen that way.
Yeah, and guys, this is a very, very important tip that you need to learn when handling your woman. Okay, guys are by nature fix-it people. We fix shit, right? The issue is that we're assuming that she wants things fixed all the time, and that's not the case. Right. Women don't always want you to fix the problems. A lot of times, I don't know what the percentage is, but I think it's more than 50%. So more times than not, she just wants to vent. So a good tactic is to use Richie's thing. When talking to your woman, or anybody, but especially women, ask her, hun, do you want to just vent, or are you looking for solutions? And she'll probably say, no, I'm just looking for someone that's kind of sound off on, and then just be there and listen and all that stuff. So
phone etiquette.
Yeah.
Aw.
But she
Oh,
put. Hold on. She put that, and then she put this. So she's
okay.
so
Yeah, just trying to make
that's her way of trying to get back on the insurance policy.
Yeah. Mostly Transformers. This is Transformers. These are Voltrons. The Lions are down there, and the Dire Ruggers are up top.
I appreciate that. I really do. I really appreciate that. I never wanted my man taking up for me every time a guy hit on me. I was handling that stuff before I met him. If I need you, I'll call you. And guys, I think that most women, especially good-looking women, that's how they handle these situations. Listen, this ain't their first rodeo. Okay, if women are getting hit on by guys constantly, especially the higher sought after women, she doesn't need you to jump in there. And she doesn't necessarily need you or want you to do it either, you know, and you don't want to be that guy that comes across as insecure. Let her handle it. And then on the off chance that she can't handle it, which is very rare, then you step in. And when you step in, you step in. And when you step in, you're not going in there looking to throw hands. You're going in there to diffuse situations. Think Bruce Lee, think James Bond. I have a way about me where I can talk to another grown man and I'll look him dead in the eyes and I will not break eye contact with him. I will not raise my voice, but I'll be just direct and assertive and I'll say words that will make him kind of think. And he'll go, I'm not sure if I really want to go down this road with this guy, but he hasn't said anything to me to escalate this. And he's being kind of respectful, but he's being matter of fact. That's what I kind of shoot for. So that's
something too, that you can handle that, not even in a physical way. It's that you have that confidence and all that to where you can diffuse the situation. She's like, wow, this guy was hitting on me. It was going bad, whatever. He came in, diffused the situation without even threats of violence or anything else. And it got resolved. This guy can handle that. That's actually, to a lot of women I know, very attractive.
Yeah. So Maria says, I thought you were going to say, fix things like the door, the drawer, etc. Oh, hell yeah. Come on over and I'll give you a list. No, I hate it when guys give me advice. I already know the answer. I know I did wrong. So there you go. There you go. So, what Maria's talking about is that, she just wants to vent, with someone that she feels safe with, that she feels like she can, dump that emotional energy, the negative energy out, remember back in the days, I don't know if people do this anymore, but when they used to make tea or something, they used to put it in the pot and it would whistle. What was that thing called? Kettle?
Yeah, it's just a kettle pot, or not kettle pot. We have one. Anyway, pot that whistles.
Yeah. And the whistling is the release of pressure out of this, highly pressured situation. You put water in this little device, right? You heat it up, heat expands, it creates a bunch of internal pressure. That's kind of how our emotions are. So tea kettle. Thanks, Jules.
Tea kettle.
Yeah, tea kettle. Thank you. And then when the pressure gets too high, it starts to release and it makes a whistling sound to kind of let you know that the temperature inside is kind of where you want it to be. So, right. That's how men, you should look at yourselves like a tea kettle. You don't necessarily need to vent every single time. I mean, a little bit of pressure is okay, but you can't close the top off of a tea kettle because after a while it'll explode. And then when it explodes, the entire kitchen is damaged and you don't want to end up in jail in a fist fight, doing something stupid, things like that. All right, Dwayne, let's move on to number 3. You ready? So number three, and we've talked about this before, ambition, prioritizing your goals. So guys, I mentioned this a bunch of times. Do not put women in front of your goals. Your mission must always come first because women will come and go and the good ones will stick with you all the way to the end. So that said, stay the course and pursue your greatness. Lesser men act desperate and they set their goals to the side in order to focus on their women. Don't set your goals and your ambition to the side when you get yourself a girlfriend. A lot of guys will do this. She likely picked you, or one of the reasons why she likely picked you is because you were so ambitious. And then when you get her, you decide to throw it all out the window and play the PS5 and watch Netflix with her all day because you're happy that you have a woman in your space. Guys, you have to understand that if you want to, it's one thing to get a woman, but it's a whole nother thing to keep her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a whole nother thing to keep her. So, if you don't prioritize your goals, this will almost always lead to her losing respect for you and leave you single, alone, and with your opportunities just passing you by. When you pass up dates with her in order to focus on your goals, she will actually respect you, and it'll destroy her ego a little bit. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
Let me give you an example of what I mean by that. There are times when I make a date with someone, right? And I'll say, okay, so we're going to go out on Saturday. And then she calls up and she says, hey, Jim, listen, A, B, and C happened. I can't do Saturday, but let's do Sunday instead. Let me tell you something, guys. Even when I have open on Sunday, I tell her I'm already booked on Sunday. I can't. I don't allow women to flake on me and then they just turn right around and book it on the next day. I pretend that I'm already busy. And I'll say, listen, I appreciate that. We're going to have to reschedule another time. My weekend's booked. I've got a whole bunch of things I got to get done. And what that's telling her is that, number one, I'm teaching her how to treat me. When I want things appointed and when we set dates on something, if you're welcome to flake, you're welcome to change your mind, but it's not going to be the next day. My calendar is not open. We're going to have to reschedule these things. So I'm going to be put as a priority unless an emergency comes up. Number two, if she wants to reset for the next day and I'm always busy, she knows that I'm mysterious. She wants to know what I'm doing. She sees that I'm on my purpose. She sees that I've got things going on just other than being up her ass all day. So these are not bad things, A lot of guys will.
Has a girl ever later admitted to you that she did that to you to play the game with you, to shit test you?
Yeah. Women. Not many, but I have gotten women to admit that they shit test.
Okay.
The women that I'm thinking about right now are women that I wasn't dating, but we were talking about dating, and they mentioned that they would purposely, flake on another guy. Let me give you guys a really quick tip. Okay, I don't want to go down this road and talk about dating on this podcast, but let me give you a quick tip. If you set a date and she books with you on a Friday or Saturday, you are at the top of her list on who she's looking at, because she's looking at more than one man. But if she books a Sunday or a Monday or a Tuesday, you're on the lower end of it, generally speaking. If you book a date with her and she flakes on you, it is almost always because a guy she's more interested in set the same night, and he finally came through with, hey, yeah, I end up having the night free. Let's go out. And then she flakes on you. You're not at the top of the list, because there's been plenty of times that I have been on top of her list and I say, hey, listen, my plans just fell through. I know it's late notice, but you want to go out tonight? And then she's like, I already have plans. I said, okay, cool. Well, then maybe we'll do it in a week or two. Well, hold on. Let me cancel these plans. And I know she's calling and she flaked on the other guy to go out with me.
Right.
So just kind of know that if your flake rate is high, that you've got to do a better job at presenting more value in yourself, because you are getting passed up by men who she deems more interesting than you. That's just the unfortunate truth. But anyways, going back to the ambition and the prioritizing goals, like, she will know that she comes second. She needs to know that she comes second to your mission, and that it will only make her want to pursue you more when she sees that you're ambitious. Women love ambitious men. So create something, live for something, leave yourself a legacy. Excuse me. If you're a man who has worked hard to become a top tier man that's always improving, then you should feel superior to people who have done nothing with their lives. Now, I know the word superior is going to rub people the wrong ways, but listen, hear me out. Since we live in a world that's so pussified, and it's very unpopular to consider yourself as anyone's superior. I understand that. We're supposed to say that we're all equal, okay? But the truth is we're not. We're just not, okay? Because in the military, a private is not equal to a general, okay? If you have a coworker or teammate on your sports team that you outperform in every single way, are you equals? You're not. Yeah. So imagine spending years of your life working on you, grinding, saving money, making smart investments, going to the gym, getting in top level shape. Would you consider the guy standing next to you who eats like shit, is 80 pounds overweight, works a boring 9-to-5 job and plays video games all day as your equal? You wouldn't. no heater judgment on video games. I'm just saying the guy who
I felt attacked here for a second.
No, this is not you. It's not you.
Is this an intervention? Is that what this is?
Yes, we're all here to talk to you right now, Dwayne. We need to talk about the Voltron and we all heard that you cried when the main dude died. So we're here at Optimus Prime. Sorry, but he's more than just a dumb truck. So I'll give you that. He is more than just a dumb truck. But when a man takes care of himself and he owns his goals first, women may not admit it, and they might even complain about it. Okay, but deep down inside, they're actually turned on by a man that puts his purpose above her. The reality is that if you have any love for yourself, you would never simp for a woman, and you would not skip your goals for the sake of short-term pleasure. You can't change the man that you are once you get the woman who acquired you based on the man that you were. Okay, this is a mistake that most men will make in relationships. They'll listen to their girl when she says that they want him to skip the gym for some Netflix or to hang out with her. They listen when their girl tells them that they don't need to train or work as hard. Don't go down that rabbit hole, because over time these men become soft and comfortable, and those women will lose interest in you. The women might even cheat on a man that has that's harder working and more driven than you, the guy that you used to be. You'll change, and then she'll cheat on you with the guy that you once were. And she asked you to stay home, and you changed for her, and then she goes and she cheats on you with the guy that you once were. It's like, okay, that's a whole nother topic. The hypocrisy of that is baffling, but men know it to be true because we've either been through it ourselves or we've seen the situation. And honestly, it happens a lot. And this is why you should never listen to a woman that tries to keep you away from your goals. A good woman will encourage you to reach your goals, to level yourself up. So no matter how sweet and attractive she is, your purpose comes first. She's got to come second to your goals and ambitions, or you'll probably lose her.
What are like some tips for people? So when, and maybe we could just do it, men to women, women to men, but what would be some tips when she says, "Hey, come on, let's Netflix and chill," which I would argue, I think we could all argue, is a pretty hard one to say. I'm going to go to this business meeting, or just eat that extra cheeseburger, or whatever that. What are some tips that you would offer guys to girls and then girls to guys to when that happens? Because I mean, I'm sure it happens the other way as well. He wants her to not go to the gym or not do whatever she's doing to be with him. Any like tips?
Sure. Yeah, sure. And guys, it happens to me, all the time. It happens to me all the time. Where I want to spend the day with a female friend, and I didn't go to the gym. It happened just on Saturday. Yesterday, I didn't go to the gym all day yesterday. And I had planned on it. So it does happen. But hey, I still got four. I still got 4 days in the gym this week. So, so I feel so bad, but, if you've got some sort of schedule already, that's going to be a work related schedule or something that you like doing, do not change plans for it. Okay. That's my first tip. Just let her know, hey, listen, I can't tonight because I got something going on, and then she's like, well, come on, don't do this, don't do that. Just go, look, this is something that's important to me. I'm working on my business. I'm working on my career. Or if it's a bowling league, let's say, and she wants to take you away from the bowling league, just say, look, I feel that it's very important for everyone to have their guy friend time and for females to have their girlfriend time. I do it once a week with the guys, and I do it for 3 hours, so it's not something that I think would be healthy to give up. And I'm not going to ever ask you to give up your precious time with your girlfriends if you want to get together and drink some wine at Susie's house. I think that's healthy, so I need to make sure that I have that time to vent, have time with the guys, things like that. However, I'll be done at 9:30, and I know it's a little late, but let's get together afterwards or before. If not, we can get together tomorrow. How's that sound? So I'm not saying I don't want to spend time with her. I'm just saying I can't do it because of A, B, and C. I'm not changing my plans. And if I do, it'll be a rarity. That is something that is, again, a very one-off thing. But you do not cancel the bowling league with the guys because you got a girlfriend. Don't do that. So, okay. All right. let's go here. What does this mean? Fuzzy tacos happens. Fuzzy taco.
Yes, they do. You're talking my wife's language. We actually have a date later today to go to our favorite Mexican restaurant. She loves Mexican food, and she has not had it in about, I think, maybe 2 or so that I'm aware of. She may have cheated on me and went and had tacos, but yeah, that whoever that was is talking my wife's language, definitely.
So, do you guys? There's actually a place called Fuzzy Taco here in Florida. Is that
Yeah.
what
We have?
Yeah.
It's not actually that locate or that place. There's a place called Habaneros. It's a local one here. Love their stuff. Yeah, we do have Fuzzies here in Texas. So,
Yeah.
pretty large chain.
Something tells me there's a story behind this that Alicia should
Oh,
probably.
wow.
I don't know. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it's probably some sort of story. But here's one. So my guy is a retired Navy SEAL. He has a touch of PTSD. All he talks about is politics, and he rises up his voice like he's talking to his crew. She's mentioned to him, please don't yell. I'm not yelling. The guy is awesome. He can do anything. I know I couldn't live with the yelling. So it sounds like she dated this guy, and he would get all spun up whenever he talks about politics. Is what I'm hearing from Maria here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, these are, some people get really heated and they get really, wound up tight when they're talking about something that means a lot to them, or they're frustrated. This is a guy that this is a red flag. I'm not saying the guy's not a good guy, but it's a red flag, and I think Maria saw that, and it sounded like she kind of ended the relationship with him, because when you get men or women who can get taken off center by something like politics, guys, politics is one of those things where you put it in the category of things you cannot control, like the weather. We can vote, but if we're all being honest, no matter what side of the aisle that you kind of lean on, it's kind of like a different wing of the same bird a little bit, not a whole lot kind of changes, no matter what guy or gal is in there on the presidency. We've all been disappointed. When our guy gets in, we've been disappointed. When their guy gets in, they've been disappointed, so things like politics, it would be a red flag when they get mad about that, because the way that the media is nowadays, there is no down the middle media reporting anymore.
Yeah.
It's all just very biased. So he is likely getting spun up by watching and listening to news channels that talk about his particular political ideology, and that is never going to stop. I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So this guy is going to be one of those guys where he's always effing yelling. So I don't know. I don't want to make a snap judgment on this guy, but Maria obviously saw it as a red flag, and I think it is as well.
Yeah, well, it sounds like how he handles it. I mean, you can be mad about something, but it's all in the way he handled it. If he would, maybe be calm, because yelling is unattractive 99.9% of the time. So that sounds like a red flag with his disposition. It sounds like that's something that she's like, you know what, I can't be around someone that yells, and that's certainly her choice. And she's like, yeah, we're not going to match Splitsville. Yeah,
and it's really important for women to get good at the vetting process of men, because I think that women in general are looking for a man to lead. Most women are not looking to lead, and so if you are the owner of a company and you have to hire a CEO to run your company, you're going to want to make sure that you pick the right one, because that whole company can go down real quick if you pick the wrong one. So I think that was probably a smart thing for Maria. She probably saw some, she was probably very forward thinking and saying, hey, this guy's going to get spun up with everything that doesn't go his way. Folks, don't forget to like and support the page by liking the video. Thank you for the people who have done it already. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel, so that way when Dad Talk goes live, you can be notified whenever it comes on. Let's go on to number 5. So we're halfway there. So
5? I thought we were on 4.
Did we miss it? Oh, we are on 4. We are on 4. Sorry. Yeah. So number 4. Yeah, my apologies. Number 4. So confidence.
Making sure I knew what I was doing.
yeah.
This was a test.
Yeah.
I got you.
So
all good.
So number 4 is confidence, right? Be careful to not seek her validation. Okay. So many men today, I'm going to share it right now. So many men are very beta, and they're so desperate for women that they must know what a woman thinks about his looks, his personality, or his body, and they want to know all the time what page he stands on. He must know where he stands with this woman at all times. I mean, some are even insecure enough to ask her if she even loves him. So that's not how men move. Confident man has no need to seek the validation of women because he's confident enough in his looks and his ability to where he doesn't have to ask her constantly, do you like me? Do you love me? Things like that, because he's put in the work. He's taken the time to acquire and learn the traits that he has. So he doesn't need her to tell him what he already knows. Now, I get it. It feels good. Everyone wants to be complimented, including myself. I get it. But you just don't want to seek her validation constantly, because it's not a good look for you. A lot of men who have not put in the work honestly worry about if he's good enough for her. It kind of goes back to that one guy that we were talking about where he doesn't want her to go out with her friends unless he's there. It's kind of, you kind of come across as that guy when you seek her validation. So, it's just and honestly too, and I'm speaking mostly for the modern woman, 35 years old and younger. My 40 and up women tend to be way better at this than the younger women of today. But younger women of today, they have overinflated egos. And if you seek validation from women, it's just another way to inflate her already overinflated ego. If she knows you desire her validation and approval over time, she's going to use this against you to manipulate the situation as she sees fit. Yeah. So you don't want to go down that road. Do not seek her validation. Leave the cravings of approval to women. Women want the validation. They want the cravings. They desire the non-sexual attention of men. They must always feel they're pretty and things like that. Let them worry about validation. If you're a stand-up kind of man, you don't seek validation. I don't ever ask women, am I a good man? Do you like me? All these kinds of things. They will do that without me asking them. If I'm making them feel safe and secure as a man, like my job is to, she'll want you to feel good, and she'll be proud of you. So move in a way to where you're confident enough to know that you don't have to, seek the validation of women. When you, especially also when you're texting, because we're a very text kind of country or situation now. Society, we do way more texting than we do on the phone. I think a lot of people do. Be careful. Be careful. Don't ask for validation on text messages. And also too, let me give you guys a little bit of a tip also. Women are so used to getting validation from all men that if you fall in line with the rest of the men and give her validation every time she sends you a picture or every time she's in your space, then how does that separate you from all the rest of the men? Right? You got to be careful. You got to be careful treating your women like celebrities, because she will treat you like a fan. So one of the things that I teach men, and one of the things that I don't do with women, is they'll send me a text message with their picture, and I won't even make a comment about it. I'll say something like, "Hey, that color dress looks good on you." Yeah, oh my God, what is your dog doing in the background? He looks so cute. And I'll completely ignore what she does, and she won't come out and go, "Hey, what the F, man? What about me?" It's very rare that she does that, but I am using it as a tactic to destroy her ego a little bit. And I do it on purpose. Why? Because I need to separate myself from the other 8 guys that are giving her all the validation she wants. She's not going to treat me like a fan because she ain't my celebrity. She went to the bathroom and took a deuce this morning, just like I took a deuce this morning. She ain't nobody special. Okay. She wipes her ass the same way that everyone else does. And I'm not going to treat her like she's some sort of star or celebrity. And another thing too, is when you don't validate your woman like the other guys, she still has this innate desire to get your validation. So she chases you for validation because you're the only one out of the 8 guys she's talking to that doesn't give it to her. I try to come across as the kind of confident, high value man that whenever she walks next to me, it's not that I don't compliment her. It's just that I'm not googly eyed over her. And it bothers them a lot of times. And I'll get them asking me if I'm even attracted to them. When a woman asks me, hey, are you even attracted to me? I know I got her right where I want her. I know I got her right where I want her. And I have had multiple women ask me if I'm even attracted to them. Why? Because I'm not jumping down their bones. I'm not trying to sleep with them. I'm not talking about sex. I'm not sending eggplant pictures to them. All the other guys are doing this, guys, and you know it. Either you've done it or you've heard guys who do it. And if you send unsolicited nude pics or you're talking about sex far before it's appropriate to talk about that, how have you separated yourself from all the rest of the guys? You're not seen as a high value type of man in her eyes. So the validation part, guys, you certainly don't want to, ask her for your validation, but also a little tip, be careful on how much you validate her as well. All right. Number 5.
I was going to ask, how about for the married folks? Any advice for them? I have some thoughts, but
well, let me hear your thoughts because once you guys are married, the game does change. The game does change.
And this is an area that I'm horrible with, and I will apologize. Probably why she calls it a dumb truck all the time. But me telling her that I value her as a person, I love her, and all that. I said and all that, but validating her. When you're married, it does change different because again, you've made a lifelong commitment to be with each other, and telling your spouse that you love them, that you value them, that you appreciate the things that they do. That's one area that she is very complimentary on. Every time I do something, she thanks me, no matter what that is. And I'm not the best at doing that back. It's not intentional. It's just my whole thing is I don't know, me as a guy, I show how I love you. If you go to that the 5 whatever things, showing doing this or
acts of service.
Acts of service. That's kind of the way you show it, and it should. I'm more of a I'm doing these things. I'm doing this, doing that. Of course, I love you because my actions reflect my words. Words to me are kind of cheap. Me saying them, my actions show you that that I'm serious. So it's kind of but again, keeping it rare or not doing it all the time. I'm sure. Or she knows I love her. But an area I need to increase or get better at. I'd be curious to see anything the married folks out there, if they've had that, or if that's something they would want their mate to do, and how that may be different for people dating. I know when you begin dating, what you said was spot on. I'm actually shocked a guy would actually ask a woman if she loves him, or if he's sexy, or if he looks good, or that. That just shows how much things have changed over the decades. I can't believe it.
One of the things I do whenever I do masculinity coaching is I'll tell them to give me their phone, and we'll talk about one of the girls that he's trying to court, and I'll scroll all the way back, and then I'll read out loud the conversation between the two. And then you can see it on his face that he's disappointed.
Ooh.
And all I'm doing is reading what transpired between the two. And then I'll ask him, what do you think about that? How did that make you look? Well, it kind of made me seem a little desperate. Right.
Bingo.
That's what she's thinking. That's what she's thinking too. So, but to answer your question, as far as validation goes, the game looks different when you're dating than it does when you're married. When you're married, conversations need to happen. So what I mean by that is ask your wife how or what her love language is because if her love language is acts of service, then you got to move differently than if her love language is words of affirmation.
Right.
If her love language actually is words of affirmation, and that's high on the list, then validation is something you're going to need to do a little bit more.
Right.
Now, don't go full simp mode. Still sprinkle that in there like salt. You want it to be enough to know it's there, but not overbearing. So validation should be like salt. It's there to give it to her 30% of the time, not 100% of the time, kind of a thing. Find that right balance. But that's a great question because the game definitely does change. And I hate to use the word game, but damn it if it ain't true,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
All right, number 5. Sorry.
Number 5. Number 5 is grow your mind. Grow your mind. So, an attractive man is open to new experiences and perspectives. He's always seeking opportunities for personal and professional growth. He's a lifelong learner who will take a risk and try new things. So don't let someone else's thoughts take over your mind. Your mind is the only thing, guys, that you can actually control in this world. So don't let someone else influence your mind. I would recommend that you spend 3 hours a week learning something new. Let me tell you something about me personally, okay? Years ago, I made a commitment to myself to grow my mind and my body. And my commitment was that I would spend at least 1 hour a day, 5 days a week to either listening to or reading something new. And me personally, I'm not a huge fan of reading. I'm just not that book kind of guy, but I do like listening. So I'll do audiobooks or I'll do podcasts or I'll do things like that. It doesn't really matter too much. It just makes sure that you're learning from someone who's smarter than you, someone who's a professional in the field that you're reading about. And try to learn something. I also told myself that I would spend an hour a day for a minimum of 4 days a week in the gym focusing on my fitness. And I made this commitment to myself years ago. And I can honestly say that I spend between 5 and probably 8 hours a week learning something new. And I spend 4 to 5 hours a week in the gym. So that's only an hour a day, 4 or 5 days a week. I get at least 4 days in every single week. And I will tell you that it has helped my mind and my body grow. And I learned so many things. That's where a lot of this content comes from. If some of the things that I'm saying sounds very perceptive, I appreciate that. But let me just be honest with you. I didn't make any of this stuff up. This stuff that I'm saying to you right now has been learned through either trial and error or learned from men and women who are much smarter than me. And I'm nothing more than a big, huge melting pot of information that I've gotten from Dwayne, that I've gotten from successes and failures and people that I've learned from. And I just speak to it as a mirror of the world. I'm not necessarily telling you that, what the world is all about. I'm just telling you what I see from the world. And I try to help people based on what's going on now to get the best outcomes. If this was a podcast that we were doing back in 1940, the wording would be completely different on how to court women than it is in the year 2023. And, in 10 years from now, it'll likely change again depending on how the society is. But you can't necessarily control what happens out there. You can't control other people's thoughts. You can't control if you are not happy with how it is to date in today's dating modern world, or how men are not as masculine or how women are not as feminine. All that's fair to say, but we can't really do a whole lot of influence on that. But where you can influence is right here. Starts with you. You can influence your body and your mind. So I really want you guys, if you want to become more attractive, one of the most attractive things you can do is to grow your mind. Be the kind of guy who is intelligent and wise, and the people around you will definitely take notice of that. Number six is to be more interesting. Do interesting things. I mean, honestly, when's the last time you tried a new hobby? Not necessarily to monetize it, not to necessarily make a business out of it, not to necessarily become the best in the world at it, but just because you were just curious about it. Obsessions are really great for conversations. And when you're passionate about something, that's an attractive mechanism. So be very interesting when it comes to, dating or courting or things like that. For me, whenever I'm on a date and I'm talking to someone that I'm interested in, some of the things that I talk about are, workouts. I enjoy new foods. I enjoy traveling, baseball, of course, podcasts, helping people, things like that. So those are some of the things that I'm interested in whenever I'm talking to people. Eric,
what's up?
What's up, man? I noticed that Dwayne logged off, but he's back on now. Yeah.
Had a little glitch in the matrix, I guess.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. I thought you were done hearing my story and you're like, you know what, forget this. I'm gonna go make myself a sandwich. Yeah. But we were just talking about number 6, which is being more interesting. And I was kind of telling them to try new things, not because you want to make money out of it, necessarily make a business out of it, but just, be obsessive about something, be curious about something. For me, like I was saying, it's about food, traveling, baseball, things like that. For Dwayne, it might be things like computers or Comic-Con or, sci-fi or 80s cartoons, things like that. It's really less about what it is, but it's more about, creating a life that's not boring. Like, let there be some passion there, someone was saying something about the Navy SEAL, how he's passionate about politics. I would probably not use that as something that you're obsessed about, because, that doesn't always come across very well, especially when you're raising your voice and you get all, twisted about something, but something that's more fun, give her something to tell her friends about. I want, after talking to you guys, I want her to go out and say, yeah, I went on a date with this guy and, there's just something about him. I mean, he went on this rant for 20 minutes about, these things that he's into. And honestly, I thought it was pretty attractive, so that's what I want you to do. I want you basically, talking about the things that you love because you're interested in them, and do more than just saying that you sit home watching TV all day, make yourself more attractive, interesting than just, I like to sit home and, cook food and watch Netflix all day. Remember that women want to envision themselves in your world. So create a world that she wants to be a part of. Have you ever gotten into something because your partner or someone you knew or a friend was into it? I'm sure that someone that you knew wanted to go to Comic-Con before you ever went to a Comic-Con. And you were like, hey, that kind of sounds interesting. And then you go there and then you fall in love with it. You found their love interesting because you saw how passionate they were and you gave it a shot and you saw yourself in their world and you ended up loving it. That's what I mean, guys. So get out there and do something interesting and you'll become more interesting. Number 7, let's move on to number 7. We're almost done with the top 10. Grow your body, grow your style. You guys knew this was going to happen. You knew I was going to eventually talk about this. So you knew this was coming, So, let me kind of share with you about the physique part of it. Okay. As I don't want to say bad, but I'll just say it for lack of better words. As bad as it kind of is to say, people do treat you differently when you're in shape.
Yeah.
It's statistically proven that people who are in shape get better opportunities at work, advancements in their career, they're respected more, things like that. And I do believe it's because being in good physical shape is one of those things where people can see your discipline. And when they can see your discipline, they know that discipline moves into other things in their life. Let me give you another example. Okay. Years ago, I used to have an exotic sports car. It was a Dodge Viper. I don't know if you know what a Dodge Viper is. They were always my favorite car growing up. And I got into a position in my life where I could afford one. And I had a normal everyday car that I put the miles on. And I had a weekend car, the Viper. It was a convertible Viper. Let me tell you something. When I'm driving my normal car and I hit my blinker, no one's allowing me to come over. I've got to fight to change lanes. Right. But when I'm in that Dodge Viper and I turn my blinker on, people will actually slow down and allow a large amount of space for me to merge onto their lane just because I'm in this Dodge Viper.
Does the Viper actually have blinkers or is that the BMW?
No, it has blinkers. Yeah.
Okay. I've just never seen them used. Okay. That must be what it is.
Yep.
It's a fun joke.
But
people that own BMWs and certain cars never use them.
I got you. Yeah. Because the people who drive them don't use the blinkers.
Exactly. I didn't know that those first came with them. Yeah.
By that logic, I'm not sure if anyone in Florida owns blinkers or not, because no one freaking uses those things here. But the point is that I thought it was just so weird that people's behavior were so different compared to the car I was driving. And it shouldn't be that way. They should have the same sort of courtesy and respect, no matter if you're driving a beat up Yugo compared to a 6-figure car. I don't think it should matter. But the fact of the matter is, it does matter. So, folks, if it matters, then work on your fitness, not only because you'll look better and feel better, not only because you'll be more attractive and because you'll live longer and things like that, but the world will open up doors for you that may have been previously closed if you're grossly out of shape. Let's talk about the style part of it. And guys get this wrong a lot of times too. We already know how important it is. We already know how important it is to be fit, but what about the fashion part of it? Like, guys, what you wear matters. And I'm not saying that I'm some sort of fashion guru. I'm not. Okay. I'm not the most fashion forward person out there, but I've learned a lot, and I do love this area a little bit. So I do have some quick tips for you. Here's the good news. This is all about changing your appearance, and it's really one of the easiest ways to become more attractive is to be fit and look good. Hold on. Why do I feel like this is directed towards you a little bit?
All right, I need your bank account real quick. So carpenter pants can be worn by non-carpenters. Just nod your head yes, and we can just move on.
Gotcha.
When we started dating, I'm not a carpenter, but I had carpenter pants, and for some reason they all are gone now. I don't know what happened to them, or various T-shirts that I would wear, or clothes that I would have, and
those have been donated
or burned. I don't know.
Destroyed.
Yeah. So yeah, when you started talking about style, I started immediately thinking of that, and of course, right on cue.
Yeah. So, I mean, like if you guys are looking for one of the quickest ways of increasing your attractiveness, the easiest way, I just told you, your fashion. That is one of the quickest ways. You can easily become more confident because it's just within your control, especially if you're a guy, because there's not many guys who are paying attention to this area. I mean, Dwayne, to Dwayne's point, it doesn't sound like he really put a lot of thought or focus on his fashion. And
I don't know. I went and went, oh, Walmart, $17 jeans. They're not the $14 ones. They're 17. Makes sense. Threw them on.
Right.
And sweatpants. You've spoke to her hard on this one. She's probably been waiting for this one. But sweatpants and T-shirts, that's my normal attire.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a big old no on T-shirts and sweatpants being sexy. That's probably the further from sexy. Now, sweatpants, I mean, there's a time and place for everything, but I would say, especially on a date, probably not carpenter pants and sweatpants and things like that. So, but if you're in shape and you wear good clothes and you groom yourself, you take care of your appearance, you can look pretty darn good and set yourself aside from the rest. So let me give you guys 4 quick tips on where to start. Okay. Number 1, get fashion help from the ladies. Okay. So find some female friends that you can get fashion tips from and get help from. They're much better than most of us are on knowing fashion. That's number 1. Number 2, hire a fashion expert to help you. I think Dwayne's internet's looking really bad today. So it's just me and you guys right now. It's just me and you guys. But number 2, hire a fashion expert to help you if you don't have female friends to be able to help you with this stuff. Number 3, if the budget doesn't allow you to hire a fashion expert, or if budget is concerned in general and you want to do it on your own, then this is what I would do. This is actually what I've done. I downloaded Pinterest, and of course I downloaded Instagram. And what I did is I just started following male fashion models and male fashion in general. Just kind of do a search for male fashion, and you will find these guys wearing these sharp looking suits and sharp looking outfits, all kinds of stuff. Find the kind of style that you actually like and follow these guys and screenshot it and go out and buy those outfits. Probably 70% of all the outfits I have is because I looked at someone else wearing them and I decided that, that's a good look, and I like that look. That's my style. So I went out there and I actually bought the same kind of thing that they were wearing. So Pinterest and Instagram, follow male fashion. If you guys have no clue on what to do fashion wise, if you don't have a budget for hiring a fashion expert, or if you don't have a whole lot of help from the ladies, then go and find the kind of style that fits your personality best. And then, follow those pages and just start screenshotting them, and then start, basically buying those outfits. Number 4, looking good doesn't always require you to spend big bucks. Okay. You don't need big brand labels. You don't need to be flashy. You know what's in season. I've never, ever had anyone that I can think of ever ask me if what I was wearing was name brand. You either look good or you don't look good, period. So just keep it super simple, and that'll get that'll get what you like 80% of the time. It'll get you there 80% of the time. So just stick with what looks good. I like to go on Amazon and buy a lot of my clothes. A lot of clothes that I wear are not available in stores because of my size. But even if they were available, I like to go on Amazon because I'm able to buy a bunch of shirts or pants and different colors or different brands, have them sent to me. And if it doesn't look good or doesn't fit right, I can just return them with hardly any sort of problems whatsoever. So, and then they'll put the money right back in your account. So I'm a fan of that. Another tip too, when it comes to fashion, guys, is get yourself an iron or a steamer. I mean, there's nothing that'll kill the fit more than going into your hamper and just pulling out a dirty freaking shirt and throwing it on with wrinkles. I mean, you don't want to like iron your clothes and make sure that it looks good. I think these steamers honestly cost like $30 on Amazon. Buy yourself one of those steamers, get it on a coat hanger, hang it up, and steam the wrinkles out of these things. You'll look so much better, be more presentable if you do. Finally, grooming. Getting a haircut every 3 to 4 weeks, I don't have to worry about that problem for some of you more lucky guys who actually still grow a full head of hair. Make sure that you're well groomed, get your hair cut, shave before you go out, clipping the hair in your nose, clipping the hair in your ears, etc. Kind of making sure that your grooming is on point. The point is you don't have to take out a bank loan to look fashionable. That's my point. Just kind of do some of the things that most men are not doing, and I promise you it'll separate yourself from all the rest of the guys who are not currently doing it. Let's move on to number 8. We're almost done with our top 10. So number 8 is to take charge and to lead. Here's a good tip too. Here's a good tip. Smell good. I honestly should have put that in there. That's a very good point, Alicia. Guys, you take a shower. Okay. Take a freaking shower. Women's senses, meaning that their taste, their smell, their sight, their sound, women's senses are more enhanced than men's senses. I believe that to be the reason, because since they're not able to physically dominate predators, like animals back in the day, and people who are trying to hurt them, they had to be able to detect and hear and see things, kind of like deer are more acute with their senses. That biological enhancement has not stopped just because we live in a modern world. Women see things that guys don't see, and they smell things that guys cannot smell. We are nose blind to a lot of things. Women are not nose blind. If you got bad breath or you smell bad, they're going to sense it and they're going to give you the cut. So be sure to make sure that you are smelling good. That's a good tip. Ricardo, brush your teeth. Obviously, I would like to think that that's an obvious one, but he is absolutely right. There's a lot of guys who don't even brush their teeth. So Alicia says that if a guy who smells good is an aphrodisiac. So these are all good tips, and these are coming from women. These are coming from women that you guys are going to want. So please take Ricardo and Alicia's advice and make sure that you look good, you smell good, you're clipping your nose hairs, you're on point, and these are things that will instantly make you more attractive out there. Number 8, let's talk about taking charge, taking lead. Okay. You have to have an understanding that, of your effective roles in a relationship and your effective roles in a marriage. A good relationship in a marriage should be effortless. The burden of a man is that he must make decisions that are made, and some of these decisions are going to be unpopular with your spouse or even your children, but they are actually what's best for them in the long run. This is the burden of leading as men. If as a man you want to be the leader of your household, then you must take charge and you have to be the leader, and you're going to have to make good decisions. You've got to build yourself into the kind of man that is competent and makes smart decisions. The traits of a beta husband are self-doubt. So don't say things like, I don't want to make the wrong decisions because I'll lose my wife and kids, or, things like that. Men who feel like this, they're in the mode of constant qualification by his wife. If you have a woman that's constantly criticizing you for your decision-making process, you either have one of two things, generally speaking. You either have a very overly critical woman that you need to get rid of, or you don't have an over critically woman, but you are bad at making decisions. I don't know which one it is. I'll leave that for you to decide. But if you have a woman who is constantly on your case about your decision-making, then you must know that it's either she's overly critical or you're not leading a proper way. So make sure that you're in tune to what's going on there. You likely probably haven't earned the respect of her that you can make a smart decision if she's overly critical. Or perhaps you chose a woman that, criticizes your every decision, and no matter how good it is. I don't know. Either way, both scenarios won't work long term. Okay, so you're going to have to figure that shit out. Expect a level of shit testing by your woman in the beginning. They have to do that, guys. And you would want your daughters to shit test the men that she's vetting also. So don't be mad that women shit test you. But by the time that you have an established relationship, she should respect your decision making. Okay. If she doesn't, then you need to become a better leader if the issue is you, or you need a new woman, if you're already a good leader. Set rules and boundaries for the relationship. Make sure that she's following the lead. She must know that you have options and are not afraid of losing her also. So don't be one of those guys who, she knows for sure that you got nothing else going on. But if you've built yourself into the kind of man who is sought after that most women would want, then you don't have to cram it down her throat that you have options. She'll already know because you're a stand-up guy. Let her know. If you don't like the ride, then get off. It's okay. I'm okay. My life was fine before you. It'll be fine without you. I want you in my life, but I don't need you in my life. If you don't like the ride, then go ahead and get off. Say things like that if she shit tests you and you are the kind of guy who properly leads. Don't avoid conflict. Don't be a coward. Meet every single conflict. Some ways on how to be alpha that women are kind of passively, that they notice, like leadership leading kind of traits, is drive the car everywhere. Whenever you guys get in the car, you drive. Why? Because that shows that she trusts you with her life. Plus, women love to be courted and they love to be taken care of. So that's a good trait on how to lead and be a little bit more alpha. Another thing too, do not hold her purse. Don't hold her purse. If she gives you her purse, you put the purse down. You say, I don't hold purses. Masculine men don't hold purses. Okay. I'm not going to debate this. Do not hold her purse. Put the purse down and you tell her that men don't carry purses, and then that's what it is. She'll laugh, you make it a joke, but seriously, don't hold a woman's purse. Also, never say things like happy wife, happy life. That's a beta quality. It gives too much power to the woman. It sends a message that you're there to coddle her every move. You don't say happy wife, happy life. What's the other saying, guys, that people say? It's the one about happy spouse, happy house. Is that what it is? I don't know. One of you guys put it in the comment section. What's the other saying? Is a little bit more about two people being happy instead of one person. Richie right here. No purse. I have literally taken purses that women have given me, put them on the floor, and walked off. And she looks, where's my purse? It's over there. Where you heading to? Why would you put my purse on the ground? Why would you hand me a purse? Do men hold purses? The kind of man that you want, does he carry a purse? Well, you can just hold I don't carry purses. So we make it a joke, but it's a masculine tactic. I'm shit testing her as well. What else? Don't buy into the notion that men have to shrink in order for women to become more. Don't buy into that kind of BS. So, guys, don't forget to like and the page and the video, please. Hit the like button for us. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel for us. We would appreciate that. Okay, so this is kind of what Alicia was alerting to earlier, but I did make a whole new one of these. Number 9. I don't know if Dwayne's going to be coming back into the podcast. I think he's just having issues. Sorry that we don't have this running total here, but number 9 is actually body odor and grooming. So I did actually make one. So number 9 is body odor and grooming. One of the most underrated and overlooked things is that men do is ignore the importance of body odor. And we've seen in the comment section that it's absolutely true. So women have eyes, ears, and noses for small things, and the way that you smell can make her stay or can push her away. Let me go back to here what Alicia said. Aphrodisiac. So hold on. Women test men during dating to see if you lead. That's true. That's true. I don't give her anything to put in her purse. I don't. Okay. All right. Here's one. Yeah. See, I'm going to have to say yes to this one, guys. And the reason why, because Marie is my mother. This is actually my mom. So Mom, yes, I would carry your purse. I love you. You're the only woman's purse that I would carry. Okay. So yes, fair enough. Fair enough. You got me on that one. I would carry my mom's purse. Fair. I would carry my mother for her if she wanted me to. I love her. All right. So a woman's, let's talk. So I alluded to this before. So a woman's senses are far more enhanced than a man's, and they pick up on the little things before we will. We mentioned that earlier. If you want to make yourself more attractive, then take special care of your body odor, because high value men respect themselves, and women will notice this instantly. Right when I said it earlier, you saw the comment section blow up because it's obviously important to women about this stuff. And clearly men out there are not doing this well enough. So please take heed to this. And also, guys, this doesn't mean that you mask up your bad odor with cologne. That's not what I'm saying here, okay? Don't put on a ton of cologne. Case studies have actually shown that women are attracted to the natural smell of a man. Can you guys think of like a person that you cared about or dated? Do you remember their smell? Like maybe your wife or your husband or someone that you like they had a natural scent about them, and you could actually close your eyes and put 4 people in the room and smell, and you would know which one's your chick because she has this natural smell. You would know which one is your man. There's studies that have proven that there's an attraction to the natural smell of the person that you care about. So, everyone has this natural scent. And when you're connected to that person, you begin to crave their smell. You notice it on your pillow or maybe an article of clothing that they've worn. A man who cleans himself properly has a natural masculine scent to him. So be sure to not disguise that natural masculine scent with cologne. It's the worst thing you can do. Have a shower instead. A slight, barely noticeable added scent like cologne can be nice, but you should never overdo it, is my point. So I want you guys to know, I'm referring to my men here. Take a shower, brush your teeth, groom yourself. Don't mask it up with cologne. Dwayne, you're back.
I'm back. Yeah, we're having some internet issues. I was able to.
That's okay.
I didn't want to break up the stride there. Actually, I saw Rich's comment about the purse, and you were saying that men should not wear or should not have purses on, or should not.
I was saying not carry purses.
Okay, I'm still trying to understand what you mean by that. I'm a little.
Oh my God. This is exactly what I mean right here. This is exactly what I mean. I mean, you got the purse on your arm in tow right now. And I'm guessing Brandy took that picture, right?
Yes, she did.
Yes, because she had to capture the blackmail photo right there because even she knows that this is blasphemy right going on right here.
I thought I rocked it.
I mean, if there was a maybe a trans contest or something,
Okay.
I think you might win. I mean, I'll give you that.
Fair enough.
I think that picture you might be able to compete in a woman's sport. If you just show them that picture, you might be eligible. I'm not sure, but yeah. So no holding purses because pictures like that will be on the internet forever.
I thought I rocked it personally. I was a little surprised. I figured Rich would be behind me, and isn't it like you're in your own manliness or something?
Rich is not behind you. I'm gonna prove it right now. Boom.
I'm gonna hold my daughter's purse. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I got food for thought. I will look at not doing that in the future. Okay. Like you're trying to find one of my other pictures where I was doing that at a purse store. I like to have a little bit of fun with that. I like those t-shirt shorts. That is my attire for the day. That's my style. That's how I rock the style there.
The way you were standing too, I agree. The way you were standing.
Wait, I think I mean the red shoes, the black shorts. That's my trademark. The lines, break up everything. I think that really.
Why are your legs so white? Like your legs look like you've been sleeping in a coffin, like a vampire. When's the last time those legs have seen the sun?
Oh boy, I'm gonna say never. I usually don't leave the house. I am usually either working
I can
or
tell.
doing something. Yeah, it's
But it looks like you left the house to go to Target that day. Is that where that's at? Target?
Yes, that was at Target. Yes. I don't know. Maybe there's some room. Maybe there's room for discussion on that. I don't know. Maybe. Trying to find.
Yeah. So here's a comment about men wearing too much cologne, right? I mean,
What about with an AC/DC shirt on?
That's much better. But what is that around your waist? Is that a fanny sack? Tell me that's not a fanny sack.
No, that's her. That is her purse.
Oh, that's another purse.
That's another purse. Yeah. Are we redefining who's going to be co-host going forward here? Is that
what is up with your drill sergeant haircut? I mean, you got a flat top there. You look like a rap group from the 90s right now.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm taking some self-reflections, introspectives here, and yeah, maybe. I'm just going to say my wife has something to do with this because one, she allowed me to go out in public like this. So,
is that a store that sells purses? What's in the background there?
That is a store that sells purses at one of our local malls. Should I sign up for your courses on how to be a man?
Yeah, and I'm gonna comp the price too because Lord have mercy, you need it. You need it. All right, you ready for number 10? We're down to number 10. You ready?
Let me pop up number 10. Hopefully my internet lasts. There we go. Okay.
So number 10 is probably one of the most important one, and if you get all the other 9 right, this one here should fall right in line. It's called physical presence. So people can tell when a man with strong physical presence walks into the room because physical presence is a very real thing and has always been attractive to women. Even other men respect men with a good physical presence. The single best way to increasing your physical presence is, of course, increasing your physique, of course. But understand that working out isn't the only way to build your physical presence. I know many impressive men and women who are in great shape, but they don't have that magical aura about them. They don't have that it factor when they walk into a room. But you can absolutely set yourself aside from 90% of the world by being in good physical shape. So as a man, having broad shoulders and a smaller waist is a badge of honor amongst, most people, because, to our point earlier, you can see your discipline everywhere you go and everyone respects the discipline. Many guys, they don't care as much about their looks. They'll skip the barber often, they'll dress poorly, but it's crucial to understand that when you neglect your appearance, you're effectively disrespecting yourself. Although it might seem like a superficial aspect, taking good care of your looks can actually do a lot to boost your self-confidence. I mean, it really does. I mean, you talked about the journey that you've been on with your fitness. It's only been a matter of weeks. You already look better. I mean, you stood up today. You showed us that your chest is now starting to become out further than your stomach does. I mean, you're looking good. Yeah, I mean, you're looking good, man. But outside of physique, though, physical presence isn't just about being tall or having a supermodel look to you. It's about how you carry yourself, how you stand, how you walk, how you introduce yourself to others, how you sit or shake someone's hand. It's how you make your presence be felt when you're in a room. A strong physical presence is what signals the people around you that you are a different breed. I remember a few years ago, someone told me something that was kind of hard for me to hear, but I'm glad that they told me. I apparently have this resting face, the resting bee face. Okay. Where even when there's nothing wrong, you kind of look pissed off and distant and cold, there's nothing wrong at all, but you're just kind of standing there and you're thinking about life. You're thinking about work perhaps, but you look angry and unapproachable. This will absolutely affect your physical presence. Now, it's even worse for me, that's my opinion, to have that resting face, because I'm a bigger guy than most people. So people think I'm going to eat them or something whenever I'm just thinking, and I'm probably thinking about something stupid, like not even, some video or saw, whatever. But I had to make sure that I took conscious effort into smiling more, having a resting smirk on my face, smiling to where you see teeth, things like that, because I seem very unapproachable, and many of us probably seem very unapproachable if you have that resting bee face all the time. Right. So you want to kind of be conscious of that. Have you ever seen like a photo with a friend or a family member, and you thought that you were smiling, but then when you look back on it, you realize that you kind of looked angry? It's almost like you forgot to smile, but you thought that you were smiling. It just didn't translate into the photo very well, even though there's nothing wrong on the inside, the outside kind of looks like there's something wrong, So the point is, guys and gals, is to smile. Now, we're not talking here like a forced school photo shoot type of smile, Yeah. A more genuine one. Remember, all things, just kind of like when you're thinking about how to smile, just kind of remember about all the things that you're grateful for, your kids, your health, your friends, like let that natural smile come through. When you just smile in conversations, when talking to people, in photos, it also conveys a warmth, approachability, like you're having a good time. And, honestly, who doesn't want to hang around people who look like they're having a good time? So, just that's just one way of kind of making sure that your physical presence is in check, is to make sure that you're not having that resting bee face all the time. Another underrated tip is to have a mysterious nature about you. While other men might be easy to read and predict, a high value man always seems to have something up their sleeve, and it's very intriguing to women. Women love mysteries. Have you noticed that they watch the Mystery Channel all the time? The unsolved mystery shows. Women love mystery. So be a little mysterious when courting and dating women, because it drives them crazy. They love that kind of stuff. It's just something about these kinds of men that make it impossible to read. And that's what makes it really attractive to women. Trying to understand these sort of men is like trying to solve a puzzle, and it's really addicting. It's a really addicting challenge, I think, and a mystery. And it's an incredibly powerful element. And most men just don't understand the power of coming across or coming off mysterious. So how do you do that? In conversation, don't over explain. Don't go into great detail. Be purposely vague about things. Leave her wondering who you really are and what's really going on. You'll come across confident and you won't need her validation, and she'll be left wanting more and desiring to figure you out. And you'll stay on her mind. So there'll be a lot of questions in the beginning of the dating process. Don't go into verbal diarrhea explaining every minutia of your life. I like it this way with this seasoning and and here's why. Like, tell her about your life. I want her to envision her in your life, but you don't have to necessarily over explain everything, and leave a little mystery to her.
Like
I
a
promise you
prologue.
guys.
Or
Yeah.
I guess the beginning of the book where it gives that little summary of what the book's about, a high level that makes you want to go, oh, I want to read chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's a good analogy. Or how about like a trailer to a movie?
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of give her the snapshot, and when you watch a trailer, it's like action packed and it's exciting, but they don't go into detail about the characters of each person in that movie. You kind of form your own opinions or whatever, and you go, I got to see that movie. That movie seems freaking awesome. That's kind of what I mean, guys. Like, give her the prologue or the trailer to the movie that is your life. Give her all the action scenes. This is what I do. I like to boat. I like to kayak. I like long walks on the beach. I like playing baseball. I like Comic-Con, whatever it is that you guys do. You have to be interesting. You have to have something to share. Put something in the movie trailer, but don't necessarily over explain every intricate detail of it. Leave there to be some sort of mystery about that. If you guys follow the first 9 tips that I've given you above, then strong physical presence becomes so much easier to obtain. So, Dwayne, if you can you post all 10 of those?
Yeah.
Is that possible for you to do that? So,
yeah, I got, but I did want to talk about physical presence and something for the guys, and actually mostly for the girls, kind of the direction I want to go. You're talking about relationships. I look at it from like a self-defense perspective, just thinking about it with women. Women that get attacked, snuggle struggle, robbed, and like, of course, that goes for men and women. But if their physical presence is one of meekness and their shoulders are hunched over, not looking, giving you eye contact, that thief, that bad person is going to go, ooh, I can take advantage of that person. I can, take whatever I want from them. But if you're walking down the street and your eye contact, your, chest is out and you're in your frame, as Jimmy likes to say, that's going to make that bad person go, I don't want to mess with that person. So when you talk about physical presence, there was a number of different ways to look at it. The romantic side of it, when you walk into a room, and then there's also, for threats and for other, life's unexpected or bad things, particularly in the area of, snuggle struggles and being robbed or being beat up. How you present yourself is how people will perceive you. And I mean, you may walk in there and be like, looking at everybody and being confident, but inside you got a bum leg and you blew your back out and you couldn't fight to save your life, but you've given off the impression that, hey, I'm here is going to make that bad person think, I'm going to try somebody else. They're going to go after the person that is hunched over, real meek, not looking, giving you eye contact. I just wanted to kind of add that, because it's, and it's for guys and girls. When you're walking down the street with your girl or by yourself, you're on the outside, by the way, for the guys. If you don't know that, you're on the side closer to the sidewalk, and you're, letting the world know she's important. She'll look at you. Hey, he thinks I'm important, and you're showing the world you're it, and move forward. Sorry, I just wanted to add that in there.
No, that's a great ad. And guys, if you haven't kind of picked up on it, there's a lot of things that we've got to do, but it's not rocket science. If you just kind of understand how women think and how they move and what they find valuable, then they're going to you'll be able to have a much better approach with the kind of women that you're trying to attract, and you'll be able to have a much better approach, as far as keeping them. But these are the top 10 ways to appear more attractive, in case there was anybody writing them down. So number 1 is integrity. Number 2 is never argue. Don't get too emotional. Number 3 is ambition. So making sure you prioritize your goals. Put your goals above everybody else. Number 4 is confidence. Don't seek her a validation and don't give her a validation. Number 5, grow your mind. Grow and become a better man or better woman every single day. Number 6, be interesting. If you're going to create a movie trailer to tell someone on a date, you've got to be able to be interesting enough to have something to tell the movie with. Number 7, grow your body and your style. That's physically and the way that you look, your appearance. Number 8, take charge and lead. Number 9, grooming, body odor, extremely easy to do, extremely important though. And number 10, physical presence. So those are my best 10 ways of how to appear more attractive. If you do these things, you're going to see a lot of success. You'll feel much better about things, and you'll be able to attract a better quality person. In closing, we all need to kind of wake up to reality that the world is changing before our eyes, and men are getting weaker by the day. You may have noticed that although I speak to both men and women alike, I focus my show heavily focusing on helping men. And I do this because I believe there's a big need for it. Now more than ever, to be honest, to help men become great, the men that they used to be. Because if we don't, I truly believe our country will be unrecognizable in the next 20 years. And I don't want that to happen. I've said this before and I'll say it again. America is the strongest country in the world. And if you want America to fall, you're not going to do it by brute force. If someone wants to take over America, they're not going to just bring their countries and their planes over, because we'd wipe the floor with every country on this planet. So you can, however, take over America by achieving what no country can, and that's by changing the mindsets of the very men that would stand up to defend what this country has. So attacking masculinity and the very men that would take up arms to defend our country, if you change those mindsets, that's a way that you can change or take over a country. I honestly believe that. I think that men have been under attack now for decades. And I also think that the task is nearly complete. And I'm just trying to avoid it. Men have been shamed into believing that their masculinity, the very masculinity that created this country, that built this great nation, is now a form of toxicity. They're trying to make people to believe that that's actually toxic to be masculine. And it's not. To be masculine is not to be toxic. The modern world is full of traps to break men down and keep them far away from their potential. And the result is that most guys now more than ever have low confidence, low testosterone. There are still some men out there with unbreakable confidence. You're always going to have the outliers. But for the most part, the kind of men that most women are looking for, they're starting to become more and more rare. And it's unsettling. The guys who have the unbreakable confidence, those guys enjoy crushing obstacles. They handle problems as they arise. Those guys are not the guys I'm necessarily talking to. Those guys have it figured out. Those are the guys that I want you guys to become. Most guys are conditioned for failure ever since childhood, though, and they're programmed to lose, and they don't even know it. What I mean by that is, and I've spoken to this before, if you think about how it is today, the modern way of today, there's so many households that are now raised by single women, single family households. Yeah, it's the majority, right? And so you have yourself a boy. He's raised by his mother. He gets old enough to go to grade school, dominated by women. The faculty is dominated by women. He goes into middle school. The faculty is dominated by women. The teaching is dominated by women. He gets into high school. The faculty is dominated by women. The teachers are dominated by women. You might see a sporadic man here and there, but honestly, unless he's good enough to play sports, he likely does not have even a man as a teacher there either. He's taught to express his feelings. He's taught to think that masculinity is toxic. And what you see a lot of guys who are more concerned about girls and dating than they are their purpose. The girls are taught to be focused on their schooling, to not focus on men. Men are taught to focus on women and what women want. Women are taught to focus on goals and priorities. It's flip-flopped. So what you see a lot of women doing very well in school and a lot of men doing very bad in school for this very reason. A lot of times when a boy becomes a man, his first interaction with a man is not until he becomes out in the workforce,
Right.
or he goes to college. That's usually the first, unless he plays sports, that's usually the first interaction with any sort of masculinity. And so that's why it's so important for fathers to be in their children's life. And we're just growing up in a world right now where you see that happen far too sporadically, and it's sad. I'll tell you a story that I heard about conditioning, okay? Because I honestly think that men are being conditioned to be more feminine and less masculine. The brain is an extremely powerful tool, but it can be controlled. The brain can absolutely be controlled. And I heard this story about elephants. There is like in Africa, countries that have these elephants. In many of these countries, these baby elephants, they get a small rope tied to around their leg. And this rope prevents them from escaping and running away. As the elephant grows older, though, he becomes one of the most powerful creatures on the planet. A grown adult elephant could easily break free from this little rope around its leg. However, the adult has already been conditioned to believe that it's impossible to break free. So the adult elephant doesn't even try to break free. No matter how powerful the elephant becomes, they never escape from this rope. Now, let me share with you about elephants. Elephants are extremely strong animals. Did you know that an elephant can lift about 770 pounds with their trunk alone? Just with their trunk, over 700, 800 pounds. They can also carry 2,100 pounds of stuff on their back. That's a ton. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. That's about 21 times the lift force of humans. Elephants have, and also in a very impressive bite force. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but the bite force of an elephant is like 2,175 pounds per square inch. My point is that a rope that kept a little baby elephant in check could easily be bitten through or broken by an adult elephant, snap of a finger. But the mind control and conditioning of that elephant makes that elephant think to not even try to break the rope because it's futile. That's what I'm worried about, folks. I'm worried about the mind control of men in society. You see, even the strongest beast can be broken down by mental conditioning. That's how effective it is. And humans are no different. Just like the elephant, most men have been conditioned for failure by teachers, society, social media, the news, things like that. And maybe even by some of our own parents. People get conditioned into limiting beliefs. And that leads to low confidence. To break free, you have to analyze your life for yourself. What are the limiting beliefs that you have? What's holding you back? Who made you believe these things? Because once you figure out that you can break the change of conditioning and reprogram your mind for success, you will. So guys, I want to leave you with that. The mental conditioning of men today is under attack. And if we don't have good masculine men around, I promise you, the world that we live in is in danger. I'm worried about our military and the people who are in our military. You probably have already heard of stories where when our parents grew up and went through the military, it was much harder. And the kids now going through the military, it's just like a little embarrassing. This is kind of the world that we're living in, folks. So, we want to make sure that we are not suppressing masculinity, that we're embracing it, because a masculine man is an extremely useful man. He leads the family. He builds things. He creates things. And all the creature comforts that we have in life have been built upon the backs of great men. So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to today's show of The Big Show. I really do appreciate it. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith, and alongside of me, my co-host, Dwayne Ward. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. Keep pushing to be the very best version of yourself that you can absolutely be. And don't forget, the show is live every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. So tune in next week as we talk about another important topic here on The Big Show, hosted by me, Jimmy Smith. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys